Okay, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order. It is now 6:05 p.m. We've got a few things on the agenda this evening. I neglected to bring the minutes with me for everyone, so we will take those up without a doubt on the next meeting. We'll actually have a couple of meetings under our belts at that point as well. So we're trying some new things to try to get the minutes squared away. So the first thing that I'd like to undertake, we're going to be a little out of order with our budgets because we have the chief of police is here, and we also have the highway superintendent here. So we're going to go with the chief of police first. Unless you got an emergency, it's a lot of snow out there. But and once we're through the police chief's budget, which shouldn't take a great deal of time, I hope, and then we'll move back into some reserve fund transfers. We do have 3 of those this evening. So, all right.
There's 2 others that fall under the chief's department, which is animal inspector and animal control. Also, we might as well take them.
Yep, we'll take those up
while they're here.
Sure thing. All right. So let's. I'll entertain a motion for the police budget.
You open the meeting. And
I did.
Introduce all the people.
I can do that. Okay, we have in attendance this evening. We have the chief of police and her what do you call assistant? I can't remember your title. So anyway, her assistant, and for committee members we have Mike Jerome, Kara Smith, Mitch Lacker, Karen Schmidt, Tom Irwin, Jeff Noble, Susan Carol Lombardi. We have Bud Hall is here as well, our road superintendent, and we have our town manager, Tom Hutchinson. Thank you all for coming, and of course our gentleman behind the camera. So that's a good thing. So to kind of get things going here, I'd like to entertain a motion for the police budget, if we can.
I make a motion to approve the budget for Police Department 210, consisting of salaries of $1,186,710 and expenses of $161,202 for a total department budget of $1,347,912, an increase from prior year of 22.44%.
Second.
A motion has been made by Jeff Noble, seconded by Karen Schmidt, for the police department budget number 210 in the amount of $1,186,710 for salaries and $161,202 in expenses, for a total budget of $1,347,912. All right, let's hear what you got there, Chief.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me and allowing me to go first. So we have salary numbers that I cannot guarantee the accuracy of because we have negotiations going on with Mr. Hutchison and our police union as well as our sergeants. I've been assured by both sides of that negotiation that these are about as accurate as I can be. They're very, very close to being settled. So I've been working closely with Mr. Hutchison and the union and the sergeant. So I feel we're right there. Tom, you feel? Yeah. So we're right there. I don't anticipate much of a change, but I can't promise you that they're exact because we just don't have those contracts settled. So do you have any questions so far for those? Is there anything you want to address there?
I guess I'd appreciate if you just sort of go over the highlights of where the significant changes are in the salaries.
That would be great. Okay. So they're going to be going up into the wage matrix. So there's a contractual wage matrix now that it sounds like it's going to be agreed upon. They're getting their negotiated raise, which I believe is going to be 2% plus the wage matrix increase. So it'll be 3.75%. Okay. That seems to be consistent throughout everybody. So the one thing they've negotiated for is some specialty pay for being a field training officer. We're not quite solid on those numbers yet because we don't know if it's going to be a stipend or a percentage. So I'm just waiting on the contracts to be settled for that. let's see. So that's pretty much it for salaries. Everything is contractual.
I'm just looking at a 20% increase, and one,
Yep.
that's a lot more than 3.75.
Yeah.
Well,
Are there
I do,
additional?
while we're on the salaries part, I do have a one question,
Mhm.
is I noticed that our overtime budget, the gross overtime
Mhm.
budget, has actually increased.
Mhm.
Now, have the number of shifts increased, or is it just simply the wages that
Sure.
have increased?
So do you want to move on to that, or are we
Yeah.
good? Because
Oh, yeah.
so if you look at reserve officers, as with the reform bill, what we talked about last year is we can no longer really utilize reserve officers. Everyone has to be certified as full-time. We do have 2 reserve officers that will go through what's called the Bridge Academy, which you'll see further down is budgeted for. And it's by law, it's by mandate. We have no choice. We have to do it or they cannot work for us. So we did cut down the reserve officers because we used to have a staff of 5. We now have 2. They both have full-time jobs. So they work when they can. The issue is contractually, the shifts go to them first. So I have to budget for those shifts, and if they say, hey, I'd like to work this vacancy, I have to give it to them first. So that's our contract. So with the gross overtime, prior budgets have budgeted for 140 vacancies. That doesn't even cover our vacation, personal, or any sick time. That alone is 219 shifts. So if you look at our last 3 years, I pulled those numbers. For fiscal 19, we were $54,174 over in overtime. In 20, we were $20,257 in overtime, and in 21, we were $28,242 in overtime. So it's because we're not budgeting properly. You have to budget for what you know your vacancies are going to be. We know that 219 shifts covers vacation, personal time, and they get 15 sick days a year. I budgeted for them to use 5 each because that's about the industry standard. We don't have officers calling out sick often, but I feel like 5 is a reasonable number as opposed to the 15 days that they get. So that's where that 219 shifts come from. And like I said, we've just been budgeting lower for that number because we had reserve officers that we could bank on. And as you do see, I cut the reserve budget by $21,000. We lowered our expected shifts to 200 because I do have to fill those vacancies.
Where do I see that?
If you look up right under reserves, right
Yeah.
here,
Mhm.
right about in the middle. So that went last year. It was 52,836.
Oh, I see. 30, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yep,
So
yep.
I did lower that by
Yep.
20, just about 20,
Thank you.
21.4, I think it is.
I thought by adding on the extra officers full-time, we were gonna cut back on the overtime. I thought that
Right,
was the
but Christopher
goal.
Long resigned, so I'm already down in the hole another officer. So we can't retain staff. It's a problem with policing. We can't hire, we can't retain.
Okay.
So we had an officer resign in January, and
Okay.
we did hire a second officer. She's supposed to start the academy in June, and we were advised today she's on the wait list, so the next academy's
Okay.
January. So this is
Okay,
such an awful frustration for law enforcement right now because we're having difficulty hiring. Retention right now, other than that one officer, I can tell you I don't anticipate vacancies, but you know, that one surprised me. So, you know, I don't know. You know, I can just tell you we feel stable with staffing right now. And you're absolutely right, which is what the goal was.
Right.
And then we lost someone. So
That's okay.
now we have to pay to train and hire and everything else. So that's why I'm requesting that increase, because I think it's responsible instead of coming back to everyone at the end of the year. Like right now, as of February 19th, we're $27,000 over in overtime right now because we're filling 80 hours a week. We have 2 full-time vacancies that we're filling. The reserve officers do work a shift here and there, but it's mostly full-time overtime. And that's what's draining our budget so much. We did add community policing just so we can track what we're doing. The officers,
Where did that come out of, Deanna? Because there's 3 categories here I noticed that were new to
Yeah.
us. So I don't know where they're coming out of.
what do you mean, where are they coming out of?
Well, you said you had community policing, so it
It's
had to
things
have
we've
been-
always done,
Right,
so
but
it's
where was
overtime.
it put? Overtime? Oh, okay.
So it's things we've always done. We're just trying
Yes.
to track it so you see what we're doing.
Okay.
It's just a little bit more transparent.
All right, so that all came out of the, all right.
Right.
Okay.
And the in-service training is an additional $20,000.
So Mr. Hutchison, Mr. Diver, and I attended a meeting, and we were told by the committee that we should start budgeting for, we by law have to provide 40 hours of in-service training. They told us to start budgeting for 80 hours because we specifically have a young department, so we require a lot of training and people to get certifications in areas that they have to investigate. But because of reform, we have to budget for this amount of training now, and it's awful. And I feel for you guys who have to make these budget decisions because it's actually painful to present this, with such an increase. And but we're just pretty. And again, Mr. Hutchison was at that meeting when they told us that. It's just we are required by law to attend and be part of specific amounts of training. Not to mention, and some of that I can add because I have to get people into schools that they need to be for certifications to provide the services that we've always provided because we're a pretty young department at the moment. Of course you can.
So what happens between the 40 and 80 hours? Why are you now budgeting 80? Are you required to?
So the reform, with the police reform
Yeah.
bill, we're required to participate in a certain amount of training. And the advisement came from meetings that we've attended that this is why we have to budget for this level of training now.
Okay.
So
you're anticipating that's what they're going to be asking
yeah,
you to.
it's
And that's starting next fiscal year, not this fiscal year.
right. I'm not partaking in
You don't
that
have
right
to do it
now.
Okay, good.
We're already over
Thank you.
enough.
Yeah.
where it's already brutal enough, and as it right now, I have the 2 sergeants in a school for frontline leadership, and they're at school, and it's just me right now while they're gone for 3 days, and it's free training. A lot of it is, but I still have to pay them for travel and
Right,
shift replacement.
Right.
So it's those are the costs associated with that.
right.
And I noticed that all of the degrees went up about $3,500.
Contract negotiations.
Yeah.
So they doubled their education incentives. Still not as much as what the Quinn bill used to be, but it looks like it is doubling from what the current is. And that's a goal at retention. That's what we're trying to do. Because we don't want to be a stepping stone police department where people come in, use us for the academy, and then leave. We need to pay our people comparably with the area departments around us. And that's, I am very grateful to Mr. Hutchison for recognizing that and working with our union to get us to a level where we can retain. So now it's my responsibility to give them equipment, training, and a good environment. And we'll no longer be that place.
I do have a question.
Sure.
It's probably more for Tom. When it comes to this bachelor degree, circling back to your comment about the Quinn bill, is there anything that we can see that might be coming from the legislature that might help us out? Do we need to lobby?
No, I mean they got rid of
do that.
and not to be the history nerd that I am, but the Quinn bill was essentially aimed at educating officers to get them well-rounded to bring down use of force and excessive force complaints, because they felt if officers were more educated, they would be more apt to use de-escalation tactics by communication skills, and which I completely agree with. I like that our officers are educated, but no, there's no Quinn bill. They're not funding it, but and I was the last to get it, and now I don't get it. So it's in my salary. So that's what that is.
Is there any general feeling consensus, I'll ask it from both sides here, as to the status of negotiations and pay rates that we're trying to achieve here to help with the retention process here, and maybe with any luck in the next few years we won't be having the same conversation?
Yes, I believe that the current agreement will, I think it's sufficient for.
I can't hear anybody.
For Dalton. We will never be the highest paying force in Berkshire County. And I think our force knows that.
They're mumbling.
We have other things we can offer. For example,
That better?
the educational incentives.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, we don't give as much as the highest paid departments in Berkshire County.
I don't have a handout.
But at least we have something to offer now. And people can feel good about working here and not feeling as though they're missing something by working here. So I think an officer could have an entire career here and be satisfied with the current package.
That used to be the case.
Back when I started,
Right.
which was 24 years ago today, was my first day. I actually chuckled. I'm like, wow,
Wow.
that's funny.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But back then, we would see, we were in the top 3 for pay
Right.
in the county, so we were in a good financial position, and then we very slowly and quickly really deteriorated, and we didn't get the raises that everyone else was getting, and we ended up being at kind of the bottom of the barrel. It's the same analogy of kicking the can down the road for a really long time, and here we are, and now we have to kind of pay the price for that. So
It is a steep increase for one time.
Right.
But as the chief says, it's making up for decades
Yeah.
of not keeping pace with other departments. It's not so much that we were lowering the pay, it's just that the rate by which it was going up was not commensurate with other departments.
And you believe that $1 an hour for the officers and $4 an hour for the sergeants is going to do the trick in the pension?
Well, I think it depends on what step they are. The sergeants would be 5% over the highest patrolman.
I think we're
Step.
down to 3.75%.
Oh, we are? Okay, I won't tell. Shh. But sergeants have a significant amount of responsibility.
I
So
don't disagree.
yeah.
I'm not worried about whether, 4 is justified.
Sure.
I'm wondering about whether 4 is enough, or $1 for the.
I don't know
Is
that it
gonna
was.
stop
I don't think
people
it's.
from running to Lennox or wherever
Yeah.
they run?
Right.
So it looks like it's. Sorry, maybe if you held this over here, I could probably see it.
Well, I've got a copy over here if that's better.
Yeah, it might help me. It's so awful. I don't know when this happened to me, but it did. So I think, it looks like everything's about $2 or, a good dollar plus. I can tell you with conversations with them, they're very happy with this offer. So,
Okay.
plus they're getting that education incentive. Most of our officers are pretty well educated. So I do think what I'm hearing is they're pretty happy with the offer. I can't speak for them, but that's the
That's
impression
good.
I'm getting. So
I just wanted to be sure that what we're voting in is going to give you the tools you need.
I
to do the
appreciate
job
that
you need.
very much. They're a very, very good group. So
I did have, and it's just a question I stumbled onto. The whole ammo thing.
Oh,
We
gosh,
had that,
let's
we
talk
had
about
that, we had that question.
Are we-
And
are we
moving on
kind
to
of-
expenses?
are we skipping ahead now?
Yeah,
Is that what you
I
want to
think
do?
we've pretty much
Does anybody have
accomplished
any
all
other
the conversation
questions?
with salaries. It was
Okay.
something that's it's
So
a bitter
just-
pill. Let's put it this way: it's a bitter pill to take. is
So
what it
I
boils
will
down to.
tell you. Let's see, we are down to what happened with our ammunition is we did not buy proper amounts of ammunition in prior years because we were level funded every single year. And I will give you this very alarming number that hopefully you all understand how awful this was for me. We have a specific amount of rounds we have to fire at 2 qualifications per year. We have to plan for some remedial training if someone's struggling with one of they're very difficult qualification rounds. So we plan for a little remedial. When officers go to the police academy, they have to go with 1,500 rounds of handgun ammunition, 750 rounds of rifle ammunition, and I was left with 23 rounds of rifle ammunition in my building.
Wow.
I can't tell you how terrifying that felt to me. So I immediately picked up the phone, apologized to finance people for my budget, but I called the company because we ordered ammunition last April. We still don't have it. It's nationally back ordered. We don't have it. This one company is now only selling to law enforcement, and they gave me 4,000 rounds of rifle ammunition because I really don't think I could look at people in the town of Dalton and say, geez, I know we had this massive emergency, but I only had 23 rounds in my building because of my budget. We can't work that way. So what we did is we called the ammunition companies. We got what their anticipated price would be as of July 1st, and they gave us their anticipated rate. So that being said, what we did is I took my firearms and instructors in my department. We went through the what we have, and we budgeted for what we need specifically. So for 15 officers, how many rounds would we need? And then we added a little bit to that.
Just in case you have to shoot someone.
That's
right.
right. Well, don't say that, please. But
They don't even have a body bag line on here.
Yeah, you noticed that too,
oh my
right?
gosh, you guys, you're killing me.
It's a little dark.
Very dark, thank you.
Really?
So, but that's where we were. So our ammunition supply was extremely, extremely low. 23 rounds is just not acceptable for anyone. And it's, like I said, it's because it was level funded for a really long time, and we just can't. So my goal is we're upping what we need this year, and then next year, and then we should be able to level that right out to exactly what we need, because we'll have the extra should we need it, because this year we sent 3 people to the academy and it just wiped us out. It was never planned for prior.
Right.
So and ammunition expenses are through the
I
roof.
was gonna say, Emma's.
They're through the roof. And like I said, we went with their prices, the anticipated prices for July. So we did make those phone calls and do our research. So we didn't just guess numbers. We did call. So and I know it's.
Do you know if it's gonna keep going up? Do you have any intel on
I don't
that?
think any of us know anything
Okay.
right now with gas and ammo and.
Yeah, as long as you got in your budget, you can buy it all.
Yeah, and you know, like I said, we just can't let that happen.
To be honest with you, the hope here is that this sudden increase, Tom and I have had some lengthy
Right.
discussions about this. The hope is that this is probably the last large kind of expansive kind of increase that we should see for many years to come. So that's kind of where we're at with it.
Right.
So
I'm just thinking. yeah,
Tom and I are working on some
Just
creative ways to get this done without too much of a bite on the taxpayer.
It's awful.
That's what we're working
It is
on.
what it is.
So if you look at cruiser maintenance,
Yeah.
every year we are way over that budget every single year. And I can tell you, in my time here, come February when the cruisers needed oil changes, we were told, "Oh, don't do it. Wait till July." I cannot look at you guys or the town manager and say, "I'm sorry I blew that motor in the cruiser because I didn't have the $30 in my budget to get it an oil change." We can't do that. It's not efficient. It's not operating the way we should be operating. And we have to budget appropriately on what, and the costs are through the roof on repairs. So, you know, if you look, we put in there where we were over 6,200 in 19, in 20 it was 6,500, you know, and so on and so forth. We just over every year. So we just need to be realistic about what we need instead of unrealistic, and then I'm over and it looks like I was irresponsible. So,
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
When it comes to cruiser maintenance, since we have our road superintendent here, he has a really cool mechanic over there someday. Sometimes not so
Don't
much.
have one now.
Don't have one now, but at any rate, do you have to have some level of certification in order to work on these pieces of equipment?
nope.
Okay.
Oil changes at the highway garage.
Well, that's what I
like it.
Well, that's
I would do it.
since we have
Absolutely.
our could that be something that we could dovetail them together and get some level of savings?
Yeah, I mean, if
I'm sure certain, we could do certain things, you know, I'm sure there's some
Absolutely.
things, obviously, we send some things.
You
up
can't
to
do
them.
tire changes and stuff like that. I don't know if you know
She has that.
those kinds of things. But
I
that
do.
but that since we have you here, it was kind of
But
you know
that's
if we
not-
could
I mean-
if we can
Yeah, I'm
kinda-
sure, you know, I'm hoping,
just
Yeah.
hope is this year to get,
okay
Mechanic.
get ourselves a mechanic, but that's
We're the
something.
same.
Let's kind of have that kind of a mindset. We all work for the same people. They're our taxpayers.
That
so
being
that's-
said, we have to put out bids every year for our repairs, and this last couple of years, West Auto on Depot Street has gotten that bid, so we are
Really?
kind of obligated
So
to go with them.
His
But
name is Greg over there.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
yeah,
Yeah. Cool.
and City
Okay.
Tire has our tire
Yeah.
budget. So
Okay.
our-
Cool.
It's gotta go out to bid.
everything goes out to bid.
Okay.
So that's where we are. But yes,
Right.
I would think some things we could do that way, but
Well, yeah. It was just more of a kind of a thought.
I'm
It was
happy
more-
to explore it though
Yeah.
if they ever get a mechanic.
How many miles go on a cruiser per year?
Oh, that really depends.
On an
We
average?
have, I don't know. We do mileage when we do maintenance checks every day. We enter the mileage. So, 34, you think? So right now, our oldest car in the fleet on the road is a 2017. So we have a 2017 car that's still running really well, but it requires repair more than the others. And then we have, and that's got about over 90,000. So let's divide 5 years. So that's about where we're at.
18,000 a year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
give or take.
You
And-
have to keep in mind with police cruisers, and also with highway department equipment, When you say a mileage, double it, because they have a lot of idle miles.
We do have a
It's
lot
the-
of idle
it's the-
miles.
It's the nature of municipal vehicles. I'm abundantly familiar with, with municipal vehicles. That's why when they do fleet management for municipal vehicles, once your repair costs reach, I believe it's a third of the value of the vehicle when it was purchased. The vehicles, its repair is not worth it at that point, of any kind. You're better off scrapping and getting another. That's a fleet management. MassDOT sent me through a couple of seminars with fleet management and how to go about those things, and that's one of the things that it struck me as strange. But the more I thought about it, and of course being familiar with it from this viewpoint, that's actually that's a pretty close number. Really, it's a lot. It's uncanny how close that number is.
The other thing we do to try to maintain and keep our vehicles running well longer is we assign a vehicle to a rotation. So you'd have an officer assigned to the first, second, and third shift. They're all on the same days on, same days off. When they're on their 2 days off, we let that car rest for 2 days, so it gives it a break. And the same people are generally driving it, which means they take better care of it. Just a lot of thought process goes into doing it that way. So that's why the vehicles get rotated out. So every 2 days, a car goes off the road for 2 days, and it just helps keep those cars a little bit longer and a little bit in better condition. So.
Do you have a schedule for replacements? Do you have an idea of the condition, obviously, overall of all?
Yeah, I mean, our 796, which is the cruiser number, that has over 90,000 miles. That's not going to make it much longer. I mean, it's running well now, but we'll ask for a new cruiser pretty much every year, because we got 2 in 1 year, which is a nightmare. I don't ever want to see that happen again because it was just the way it was. And everything is so back ordered. We got our purchase orders in September from July, and I didn't get my new cruiser, until 4 weeks ago. So I just got it and got it on the road 4 weeks ago. The radio for that car still hasn't come in. Thankfully, I had them take the radio out of our K9 car that we junked, and we were able to put that in that car for now. But, so we'll save the new radio for the next cruiser because then we won't have to buy one there. What's that?
How many vehicles are there?
So we have 3 active cruisers assigned to patrol, and then we have a K9 car, and we have I have a cruiser that I share with, right now they took it to training for 3 days, and then we have a spare car. So if one goes down for the count and needs repair, we do have a spare, and that's what we try to always keep, is that spare for details. If somebody needs to go to school, they have that car, or if something breaks down or, God forbid, a wreck, which happens, we have that extra car to go to. So that's why we basically transition every year. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. And we have this little sedan that's been going to the police academy that is basically pulls in and begs me to please stop sending it to the academy. It has about 135,000 miles on it, and it's a jalopy. So, but that's why rookies drive jalopies. So, so welcome to it.
So are we looking at one cruiser this year?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I will-
for all intents and purposes, each year we end
Right.
up with a cruiser.
I would
That was a
never
position we
recommend
kinda took,
unless there was some other, like the chief's car was replaced or something like that. I would never ask for 2 because it screws us up in the rotation, to be honest with you. 1 is easier because then it's each year and you know how to maintain them well. It's just
So we need to do it every year,
Right.
one a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's important to keep that.
It
And
is.
we can, it just, what we do is it usually of course goes through our
Much
capital
easier.
expenditures, as you
Right,
know.
right.
It goes through, and what happens is we borrow that money, we put the money over a period of time, and what that does is actually lessens the amount of money on the taxpayer on a given amount.
We don't need it.
Yeah, for the small amount of interest that it costs, being able to do that, it keeps that kind of in check for
And
us.
the car I drive is a Ford Fusion, and it's a hybrid, electric and gas,
Yes.
and it's fantastic. I mean, the electric does great. I charge it every day, and I didn't even put gas in it for the first 6 months I had the job because the electric held well enough. So
Oh.
it's kind of a really cool. I like the hybrid. I think it's great for my purposes, but
Right, yeah.
but that's a 2016, and it's got about 41,000 miles on it, and it still runs well. I baby it because we need it to last, but
Pretty good for
Yeah.
a 6-year-old.
yeah, not bad.
Since we're on that subject, is there any push toward electric police cruisers?
So I just participated in a survey today, ironically, about that. Our newest car we bought is a hybrid electric. I will tell you, I've driven it. They love it. I don't. It is fast, and it really, as soon as you hit the gas, it takes off, and it's an adjustment. I did not like it.
Well, that's
But
what
they did.
electric is. Electric
Yeah.
hooks up right away.
Like-
That's why I was, that's
Yeah,
why I
so
was
we do.
asking. Okay.
The other one is too, right? So pretty much all the new cars coming out. So we did get a quote. Not that this is about our budget right this second, but for our capital request, we got a quote already, and it's a hybrid electric. So. And we're trying. I mean, it helps with the gas. So I mean, it does. And with gas right now,
Yeah, well, the thought process being at some point going all electric and
Right.
putting a solar farm on top of our landfill over there.
Let's
That'd
do
be
it.
really cool. Let's keep on going.
I like it. All right.
All
So
right.
where are we at?
Are we-
So expenses are pretty well in line, or not in line, but solidified,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
We're not,
Is there anything you guys have questions on? I will say, if you look at some of our software, we are going through the accreditation process right now, which is a very difficult and well-earned and well-worth process, but we don't have policy software, which we should have had years ago. We don't have it, and what policy software is it implements policies electronically for all the officers to have access to, and when we implement them, we have electronic signatures through it, and it documents. So for accreditation purposes, they come in and they do, they'll come in and assess us, and one of the things we have to show is, yes, we have this policy, here's when it was implemented, here's the electronic signature, so it keeps everything in one organized place for us. Without that, it's nearly impossible to be accredited. It's not possible, because the initial on the policy that, yes, I received that, is just not really practical anymore.
right.
So we did ask for that money for that software.
Yep.
And we've met with a couple different software companies at this point, and that's the price we got from the one we really liked. And we did put in for a grant for our radios. We've been working with EOPS, which is the Office of Emergency Public Safety for the state. We are exploring merging radios with Hinsdale, and there's grant funding for regionalization. So everything we've ordered from what we still not in, by the way, the radio products, don't get me started. So we're trying to update our radios, but we are looking at if we could regionalize, because Hinsdale's radios have the same difficulties that we do, and we're looking at that so we can save money for everybody and upgrade everyone's radios with funding as opposed to us. I mean, because we're upgrading our sites as well, but I think there's going to be some funding available for us. And actually our communications director put in for that grant, so we're just waiting.
Is there a reason that just Hinsdale, not Windsor too, or?
I don't want to say that on a recorded meeting.
Okay.
They have a very fancy air tower that they don't have radio issues that us or
It just
folks
makes
down
sense
here.
for Hinsdale's compatible and others aren't.
Hinsdale's compatible. They need the same
see.
issues that we have. And it's
Just throw a place up like that.
Okay.
All places down in the valleys is what, we
Yeah.
have the same problems.
yes. So that's where that is.
I appreciate this look back. I don't know who did that, all the blue, years past.
Yeah. That's been,
This wizard over here
Thank
does that for
you.
you.
Yeah,
We do it just so
that was
when we
helpful.
talk about our numbers, you can go back and
Yeah.
look and see, this is why we're asking for this, and it helps understand we're trying to be reasonable as opposed to
Yeah.
not budgeting responsibly. So
I like it. Thank you.
Yeah, I thought this was very well presented, thank you.
Becky.
right. Are there any other questions on the police budget? Any concerns, comments? Okay, I'd like to
So I-
can we move the question?
Well, I think that we're at a little bit of a disadvantage here, that the salaries aren't yet solidified.
Right.
Expenses are, but
that's true.
the salaries
Like,
are not.
if it is dramatically different, we will probably have a very good handle. We will be having without a doubt, we're gonna end up with the last meeting that I have already scheduled. If we have to, we can reopen the motion and move it forward, if there's any dramatic changes.
So I'm thinking I'd prefer to table it until we know what the actual number is.
And I'm happy to come back when
We-
those.
I don't know that we
No,
need
you don't
an
have to,
Okay.
we'll just table.
Yeah, if
just
it's a
table
very
it.
minor adjustment, that's great,
Yeah.
which we anticipate it will be.
Yes, but if there is an adjustment, I'll put it that way, it will be very minor. It would, it would help if, and it would not, yeah, if this were voted, I think the worst that would happen would be at the end of next year, there might be a transfer from another account or something like that of not much money. I'm confident
Yeah.
that these figures are
Do they have a,
very.
do they have a microphone they can talk into?
No.
Can't hear
So-
anything they're saying.
They can
So,
hear me.
I can hear Deanna good.
Of course you can.
and just
it's-
due to the nature of the
Yours is
negotiations, there are odd things that keep coming up. I would have expected them to be done by now, and they're not, and I can't guarantee when they will be done. So I think that this is very accurate.
Well, that would be an alternative, is to approve it now and then make a transfer later when we find out that it's not, that it's underfunded.
Yeah, and I don't anticipate that that's going to happen.
Well,
It's always tough.
Quite frank.
I can't say we're done, but I can say everything up to that.
Yeah, I have no problem at this point,
recommending approval.
recommending approval of it. And the reason for that is we've been through this before. And generally when we're going into these kinds of negotiations and things like that, we make a relatively accurate guess, like we're gonna do. And if we have to, off in the future somewhere, if we have to make an adjustment, we generally can make those adjustments, either using free cash or other funds from the treasury, that kind of thing. Or even use other, in May, like Tom said, May and June, we can make some adjustments.
I just think
So it certainly can be done.
It's a little unusual that we're approving a budget that's still not approved. You know, negotiations have always, in my tenure, have been approved, have been concluded. And, salary numbers are
We can
salary
table
numbers.
it.
But I'm okay if we're that close and that an adjustment can be handled through, it'll be so minor that a transfer could take care of it, then I'll be on board with
Or
approval.
we can reopen it again when we get closer to the end of our budgets if
If that
comes in.
became the case, that's an
You
option
know
as
what I
well.
mean?
How long do you think that the negotiation process will take roughly?
I refer to the town manager. It's-
Again, I had expected that they would be done now. There are odd loose ends, and I can't guarantee when they're going to be concluded, but the loose ends are not salary related.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, so they're expense related.
Okay. So if you'd like to table it, you can, I'll entertain a motion to table.
Benefits, didn't think of
I
that.
think we're all right.
We're okay to approve it?
Kind of
I
general,
think so.
I think we're okay to approve it.
Okay.
all right.
Yes?
Appreciate the discussion.
You
though.
have
Is
to
it-
put it on the school committee.
Yeah,
You got to, so.
okay.
And are there any further questions or discussion? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor of the motion for Department 210 Police signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That is unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Deanna.
Thank you.
Animal inspector and
I'm just
animal
gonna do
control.
two more that are under
Yeah,
Chief's
let's get
purview,
those
if you don't
done and then
mind.
we can
Thank you so much.
head
Bill.
on to the, yes.
Could you please tell me the salary amount and the expense
sure.
amount, because I don't have a copy of the budget.
Okay.
Tell her we emailed it to her.
Sandy, it was emailed to you, but I can give it to you anyway. Here's
I didn't get it.
the salary amount is $1,186,710, and the expense is $161,202. We have the percents if you want it, all of that.
No, I'll get it when I get the Excel file. I just needed to know the numbers, that's all.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right, so which one do we want to tackle first? Control
Animal
or
inspector.
animal inspector?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the budget for Animal Inspector Department number 247, consisting of salaries of $1,692 no expenses, total budget 1692, an increase of 1.95% over the prior year.
Second.
A motion has been made by Jeff Noble, seconded by Tom Irwin for the department, or for the animal inspector, Department 247, in the amount of $1,692, consisting of salaries only, a $32 increase. That's a 1.95%.
Good to me.
This isn't going to see the matrix.
It's,
This is a stipend.
that's a
Oh,
stipend.
stipend,
yeah.
okay, never
His-
mind.
Yeah, his salary does.
All right, I answered my own question. All right. That, I don't have any. This is a pretty straightforward. The animal inspector, they just do animal,
Right.
cattle and that kind of thing, horses, what have you.
Go for it.
All right. Are there any questions or concerns? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. That is unanimous. Thank you very much.
I'd like to make a motion to reopen the budget for Animal Control Department number 292, consisting of salaries of 25, now, consisting of salaries of $25,568 and expenses of $5,500 for a total budget of $31,068, an increase from the prior year of 10.15%, which is reopening a budget that had previously been approved.
Second.
This was approved.
Yes, it was.
22322.
And it was the increase in salaries that's changed.
Yeah, that's okay. A motion's been made to reopen the animal control budget 292 from the previous finance committee meeting on 2/23/22. Is now the budget is.
So I suppose I should have just made the motion to reopen it, and now there'll be a motion to approve the budget,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Technically,
Yeah.
it should
Yeah,
have been,
let's-
should have been
yeah.
a motion to reopen the budget
Reopen,
first.
right, from
Everybody in favor of
2/23/22.
reopening it, right.
Is there any discussion on the reopening of this budget? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those opposed? That is unanimous. The budget for animal control is presently reopened. That is Department 292.
Now I'll make a motion to approve the budget for, a new budget for Animal Control Department number 292, consisting now of salaries of $25,568 and expenses of $5,500 for a total budget of $31,068, an overall increase of 10.15% from the prior year.
Second.
Motion has been made by Jeff Noble, seconded by Karen Schmidt, for the amended animal control budget, Department 292, in the amount of $25,568 in salaries, $5,500 in expenses, for a total budget of $31,068, a 10.15% increase. And that was just,
So
made the adjustments to the
is that
salary.
correct?
So that was
It's a
the
small- I was just
the
gonna look
raise
up
and
what
the wage
difference-
matrix, and that's what that was. We just didn't have the correct numbers. When
No,
you
okay,
said
right.
this.
Right. So it really isn't.
It's small.
Okay. Are there any other questions or concerns on this budget? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor of the animal control budget, Department 292, signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, that is unanimous. Thank you very much, everyone. All right, I think that's it. All right,
Thank you for all your
Thank you.
explanations.
I think
you
might be off the
Hope it's
hook now.
helpful.
you are officially off the hook for this
Well,
evening. Wish your daughter a
us.
happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday
Thank you
for
so
us.
much.
Happy birthday.
I don't know how I'm old enough to
Yeah,
have a
maybe.
19-year-old.
Happy-
This is 24-year happy birthday.
Yes.
Yeah, happy
Yes.
anniversary.
It's ironic. It's funny.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. It was good to see you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next person on the hot seat.
But I have the seat nice and toasty
Thanks.
warm for you. So enjoy that.
Hot seat.
Yes.
All
Bye,
right.
guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Great
you.
work too. Thank you.
We got you out before 7, that's a
I
good thing, right?
greatly appreciate that.
All right, bud,
Here I am.
how's it going out there tonight?
Fun. Oh, it's always something.
All right, so I just have to find out one thing on the highway. Here it is.
Karen, do I have highway?
Yes, you do.
Am I going
It's
through
in-
my highway budget?
We, if you'd like, if you
I wasn't.
can, if you can, that would be great.
I can if you want. Sure.
Okay,
I wasn't studied up today, but it's all
Well,
right. I can probably manage my way through.
Okay, all right. I can't
It's-
imagine there's going to be a pile of questions, but
Jeff, it's gonna be
Yeah,
in
those are
that,
approved.
right, it's gonna be in your top pile.
So
It's
it's just,
in-
it's
it's-
somewhere in here,
Right, it's in there, right, it's towards the end.
mixed in here.
I got it all thrown off on you. There's one
Do you have a
thing-
number?
420.
420, thank you.
It'd be stapled together.
420. Okay.
And it is.
All right.
How about
So,
that?
and I'm going to be
Just
able
like
to
you
answer
said.
one of your questions too while we're in this.
Updated.
Okay.
I'll
Sure.
be able to answer a
Did you get
question
the-
that came
Says
up
updated.
early.
Get the new one.
All right. So
The
first
new
things
front
first.
sheet.
Why don't we get the reserve fund requests out of the way to start with? I just want to a question for you, Bud, on
Yes.
your materials, or I was trying to get to that page.
That's what I wanted.
Your
What's this?
expense, your roadway repair budget.
Yes.
I can't
Road
remember.
materials, probably 3/4 of the way down.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to find, was materials, gasoline.
So this is
office
towards the,
supplies.
more towards the bottom.
Diesel, roadway striping, roadway materials, there it is. Right
Yep.
there, so let's.
We have to worry about the uptick in cost of oil and affecting the budget.
I think it's gonna be more of an issue of
This is a
like
reserve fund
blacktopping,
transfer. I'd
patching
like to get
holes,
those out of
and
the way
things
first.
like that's gonna be my issue,
More
I think,
questions
because the
about
fuel
that.
costs for all that
There are
make that.
anything else? Okay.
I mean, there'll definitely be some issues, but at least we don't have any gas vehicles. We have one pickup, but diesel will be our bigger expense, I think.
I would think the cost of asphalt's gonna go
Yeah,
up
it's
with all of
def-
this,
it's-
and by at least 20%.
It's gonna go up a bit. It'll be interesting to see. I put some roads out to bid last week through the Franklin County group FERCog. And it'll be interesting to see when I get them back what the bids are. Like the roads I planned on doing, to when the prices come back, to, well, I'm not gonna be able to do that or that because it's gonna be so high. I think it's gonna go crazy. It's only gonna get worse.
I'd like to make a motion for approval of a reserve fund transfer for Department 420 Highway Department in the amount of $20,000. The present balance in the account is short by $18,000 and change.
I second it.
A motion has been made and seconded for a reserve fund transfer, account 132, to the highway, account 420, roadway materials, in the amount of $20,000.
It's coming out of the reserve fund transfer.
We don't have this, right?
You've got different
I know.
papers in there.
So
Why do I have different, these are originals. Mine are originals.
It's like mine are out, and I was off on the police budget by $5,000. So I'm just out of step somehow.
Yes, I
There it is.
believe my office did not get the latest police
so you want to
budget.
do is you want to tell us what it's
And
for?
what you got was sent out by my office.
Yeah.
All right,
Was about 5,000.
All right, so this is,
let's hear what you got, Bud,
No worries.
when
I
it
just
comes down
wanna
to this.
understand,
To
you know,
that-
my eyesight or what's,
Yeah.
okay.
I have the same one here.
Okay.
The
What is your preference for the handling of the potential significant overrun that the asphalt and other materials that they're gonna need for the road's gonna be? Say 20-30% overrun, depending on how the Ukrainian-Russian situation goes.
Well, that's anybody's guess as to where it's gonna be in the summer. You know, we are making arrangements with other countries and such. So I can't say where that's going to be, but we always have.
Do it for
the
reserve
option
fund
of,
transfer also. What's the
free
second?
cash or transfer from stabilization funds. We have the funds available. It'll just be a question of having to vote when
Second.
we need to,
Okay.
Susan,
which
second.
would be through a special town meeting.
So
Thank you, Susan.
we need $20,000 to do that. That's well within our capacity for those special funds.
Yes.
Okay, I'm full.
All right. And just for Brittany's edification, that motion was seconded by Susan Carol Lombardi. Thank you,
We
Susan.
think maybe Tom did, I don't know. Just
All right.
It was a duet.
It was duet. I like that. It works out good. So anyways, when it comes down to the materials,
Yes.
just if you can just enlighten us a little bit of what's kind of gone on, and then we can.
Yeah, it's
Go
more
for it.
of, it comes because of 3 different line items. One of which is equipment repair, the other is vehicle repair, and then the third one being road materials is kind of where the money came to be above. It's been a horrific pothole season, to say the very least. Like,
Yeah.
the worst I've probably ever seen this year. So I've bought a lot of material, and I didn't realize, it's my own mistake, that the material I use for potholes in the winter does not come out of my snow and ice budget, which it did my previous place I worked, it did. And most towns around here do, because I kind of did a little straw poll. But Dalton doesn't, they never have. I didn't know that. So that's kind of, pretty much if my cold patch and my stuff for patching this winter was paid through the winter, my snow and ice budget, which I thought it would have been, I'd probably be asking for like $3,000, pretty much at this point.
Can you figure out, do you know how much you use for the winter for patching holes to compare to
I could
regular
take a
road
guess.
maintenance from
Right.
afterwards? Because why wouldn't we be able to do that?
What's that?
Put the patch, the winter stuff into the snow and ice.
Well, I've actually been in touch with Terry,
Yep.
Terry Williams,
makes
and
sense
he has passed along
me.
a document concerning that.
Yep.
And actually, that part is they at the can't remember the acronym off the top of my head. I will get that to you. What's that?
DLS, Divisional Local Services. Is that what you mean?
I don't think it was Division of Local Services. It was another group that that was in there that made the determination on they made the determination on the 31D. That 31D is the law that handles the. At any rate, Terry passed along this kind of interesting piece of information that particular product or those things are. I thought it was available as well, and in reading this document, I found out that it was meant specifically for snow and ice control.
Okay.
Yeah, they were pretty specific about it. I was kind of surprised that it wasn't very generic. I haven't read it further in depth. I got about a page and a half in and wanted to fall asleep, so I had to go find something else to do. But the general gist of it is that snow and ice control would be working on the plows and the sanders and trucks.
Right.
The equipment that handles the snow and ice.
Mm-hmm.
That was what it was aimed at. I from more of a personal viewpoint, I like what you do because the potholes and that they get out of control for that reason, which is snow and ice control. Those materials, they melt what they do is they melt the water at a lower temperature, and then when the temperature goes to the point where that stuff no longer works, that's when it blows out the potholes. That's why in this past January, that's why it went as crazy as it went.
Yeah,
It was because that temperature went low enough to the point where chlorides, all the other types of ice control materials were no longer thawing so what happens is that gets underneath in it and takes the road apart. So unfortunately, like I say, I have a certain disagreement with their analogy of ice control, but unfortunately, that's kind of where
Where's-
it's at, and I have to run through that.
Where's our snow and ice now, Stan? Is it something that instead of taking it out of reserve fund transfers, can we just do an interdepartmental transfer on part of it?
Yeah.
Not yet,
Sandy
not till
said
May.
not yet.
That's
Not
May,
till
right,
May?
Sandy?
May 1st.
May 1st, right, yeah.
But
Yeah, so-
anyways,
so
that's
anyway.
my mistake.
Well,
No,
well,
it's not a
actually, it's not a
Don't
mistake,
change the
that's
whole
part of
thing.
this, that's part of this,
Overran
that's part of this whole process, that's why we're all here.
Yep.
We're, that's what we do.
We need more money. We need more.
We're trying, we're trying.
Sandy, you got that message, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, I just wanted to give you
No,
that
that's
piece of
fine, that's
information.
fine.
It was kind of,
And that's-
it was
yeah.
actually, that document was rather, it was interesting, but really boring. So
Yeah.
I kind of lost.
But that's pretty much
Anyway.
what the reserve fund transfers.
Right, is this going to allow you, because I know you mentioned you were getting a little short on material, does this allow you to go and get more material?
No.
Does
How
not
much,
allow you.
how much more do we need to get more
Think you're gonna
material?
need more.
I'm gonna need more to do any more. This pretty much gets me back level
Okay.
and a little bit of money.
But you're not taking the money out of this account to get that material?
Oh.
You're taking it out of the other account going forward?
Wait.
Hold that thought.
Sandy wants to talk.
So, if your whole budget is in the hole, is that including invoices that are being paid this week?
Yes.
And you have to be able to pay your invoices all the way to May 1st with whatever, so this is curing a deficit in your expenses, right? So I'm wondering if you need more.
Well, that's what
we're talking.
That's kind of what we were asking. We're
Leading up to.
we were kind of leading up to that. Is would
I'm sorry.
Sandy, and this is going to be, I'm going to be asking you to kind of look into your crystal ball. When it comes to things like this, from a personal viewpoint, I would, like, say for instance, what's one lift of that cold patch cost, roughly?
If I use regular cold patch, it's probably $1,500 if I send a truck to go get some.
$1,500 for a lift, the bags, or to send to get the
To send,
get a truck.
to send a truck to get it, yeah.
Okay.
Because the bags is a lot more expensive for.
Well,
like,
I get it. Yeah,
yeah.
the bags are terrible price wise. Plus, they're extremely wasteful. I hate those things. But that's
Right.
they're in some cases they're a necessary evil.
Right.
So about 2,000 in that. What other repairs might you need that would fall under the roadway materials
May I
view?
ask one question on
Yeah.
the subject of asphalt?
Yes.
How many of those lifts would you need between now and May 1st, do you think?
I think I'd be. It depends on when the blacktop plant opens, which is usually middle of April. I've heard it might be early this year. They're hoping
Okay.
April 1st ish, and that would make it a lot better. We'd be able to make a nice patch here and there. But if I was to
Wild guess.
for me to get through. 4,000 or 5,000 maybe. I could probably get enough.
I was thinking maybe 5,000 more.
So basically three
25
loads.
Yeah, because there's some rough stretches out there
I
at the moment.
understand.
Yeah.
okay.
So we
Dalton
definitely-
Division Road, if you could lose some asphalt on that, that'd be
Holy
lovely.
cow.
It's,
This place is a
that road just
mess.
fell
That's
apart.
that's a conversation. I'm going to stop over to the highway garage and have with you shortly too.
I donate to get that done.
But,
It's either pay for new shocks or get some
Yeah,
asphalt.
that's a rough one.
but it's still, if, I just get concerned with the reserve fund transfers, because we only got 65,000.
You and him both.
Yeah,
The two
well,
of you
we
get really-
are very in tune with our
That's right.
$65,000 here that we have.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because we've had to take out, we do interdepartmental things towards June.
Mhm.
Seems to be the big dynamite
April.
blow up.
Actually, it's end of April.
Would it just, could we just like leave the 20 now and then he just goes and gets what he needs and we'll just deal with it? At the end of the year?
Is that something from an accounting viewpoint we can do, Sandy?
Well, I have to be able to pay for it, so
See, his
so
expense
whatever
side's
he
gonna go
gets,
dead.
you know, it's not just road materials in
Yeah.
his budget. He's got
It's $18,000
gasoline,
budget.
diesel,
18
you know,
below.
all that
18
stuff
below.
has to continue to be paid.
Yeah, okay, all right.
And,
All
and I
right.
can't pay it if it's already deficit. So
what do you-
Okay, I see.
know.
What are you thinking the number might then be?
Well, he just said about 5 to 10.
No,
So
well,
you-
no, but what is Sandy thinking? Because she was saying that she feels that we need more.
I don't know. I just know, and Bud, please, do you know if in that $18,000 deficit you have here on the reserve fund transfer, does that include what came over to be paid for this week?
Yes,
Yes, it did.
yes, it does.
Okay, so we have to think about the month of March, whatever diesel has to come, any other supplies that have already been ordered,
Yeah, I don't
in
have much.
April, because we can't pay if you get 20 or you get 25 or 30, and that's not enough to cover the expenses for the next 6 weeks. Because mind you, you're already in deficit of about 18, so that's the only thing I'm worried about.
So he's gotta get through
We
June.
have to be able to get
You
to
got
May
to-
1st,
And
so that
gas
we
has
can do
gone
the
up.
departmental
Oh,
So
well,
that's
transfer.
another
May.
kicker in there.
Yeah,
Because he's got some
I-
salary stuff
Right,
that we
yeah.
might be able to move. You got, what, 2 positions still open that haven't been
One.
encumbered? 1 position, so we'll have
No,
a little
the-
wiggle in there. In May, that would
If we take a look at the $143,000.
The salaries are okay, it's the expenses that are
Yeah,
not,
yeah.
right?
You got it. Yeah.
So,
If we look at the 143,000, divide that evenly over 12 months, we're looking at about $11,000 per month. So I think you're gonna be short 11,000 if all we give you is 20, would be my word. Now, maybe the expenses are, not level, 11 per month. Maybe, you don't need that much given that it's,
Right.
these 6 weeks rather than the middle of January.
Right.
So maybe a dialed down number from that, maybe 8,000, 6,000. What's your gut tell you?
I mean,
Add up at 30,000.
I didn't see that coming.
You haven't seen it.
I didn't see
You
that
haven't
one
seen it
coming.
yet.
Well, that's why,
What else
that's
we
why
got?
I'm saying to you, because he's already
Well,
down.
we've got
all
we've
sorts
got
of
two
other-
we got
more.
coming.
Well, we've got 2 more coming in. One is at 4,800 and the other one is
But she's all
7,500.
uptight over it.
So
We
you
can't
got
do
5 and
intercompany
12.
departmental transfers until,
You got 5 and
Let
12
me,
is
let me
7.
see. Yeah, let me just let me see where we're at here.
it's all right, bud, we're working with these.
So then you
got
can
it.
reserve
Reserve
off
fund
the
only needs to
asphalt.
last till May.
You can take one load,
75 and
$1,500,
4,800.
hobble for
Yeah.
May 1st.
yeah,
And then you need the other 2 loads with next year's budget.
right.
So
And
who's
you'd
got a
probably be
calculator?
okay with that.
Yeah, I
I gotta add
just
this up.
nurse it through was pretty much my goal here.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So you probably 1,500 takes care of that.
32. We're
And
we-
another
we're a
$3,500
little less than
for
half of them.
Yeah.
stuff we can't
24. Let's say
anticipate.
Take
25.
out less than half.
25.
That's all right.
5,000,
Because if we
8,000,
run out of
Yeah.
money in it,
More
we
than
end up.
eight.
I think it should
Which
be.
Get in a
25 and
pinch.
8.
Depend. I mean,
With-
like
with reserve
Sandy
fund,
said,
just
that
30.
gas,
use it
diesel,
for a special time.
we don't really use much gas.
32,000, so if
I
you
mean, neither
add
do I, but-
that's already at
But I think
42,000
that's-
if we up it,
But it
Joe.
only has to last.
That
till
leaves me
May.
with 65,000,
That's
it's
correct. Right. We only
42,000,
have 2
if we
months.
add another 10 with just what we have just here. And we're not even at the end of the year yet.
We need.
Sandy, you think if we made it 30, you feel better about Bud being able to pay bills?
yeah, I hope so. I might make a suggestion, unless you're running through your, I know the diesel guys are coming once a week, is that right, Bud?
The winter, they usually come after snow for the most part. Like they'll be here tomorrow more than likely, because if it snows, they always come because obviously with everything.
Yeah,
we're
because
going
we had
to
like 4 or 5 invoices in this batch for diesel.
diesel. Okay.
So I don't know how much is in the tank. Is there extra in the tank?
I mean, there is. It all depends. I mean, they usually fill it up, so
Okay.
there's probably some. I mean, yeah, when we get down to it, I'm sure I
That
could.
only leaves us 20,000 for now.
If they just don't deliver as as much, at least that'll stop.
Why don't we taper?
You know, it depends on if you're
down
gonna
something like seven,
use your
because
trucks.
it's another
If
3.
there's not, well, there's gonna be more snow this
What's
weekend,
going on
right?
in sense from
Saturday.
Bud is that he
That's
probably
right.
can make it
We
Saturday.
just, we
right.
want, the key
But
to
there's
this
snow and-
discussion is
there's
to make
diesel
sure
and
you
snow and
have
ice.
enough.
Right.
It's not.
What, Sandy?
I'm
What,
sorry.
Sandy?
What was that, Sandy? Sorry
I
about
don't know
that.
why
There's
we can't do
diesel
that
and
too.
snow and ice, is that right or not?
Transfer from one
Is there
account to
diesel in
Yeah,
that
there's
budget?
diesel, fuel, and snow and ice.
Because we did it
Yeah,
last
you
year,
had
with snow and ice.
Number 2 fuel oil and the
Yeah.
snow and
Is
ice.
snow and ice crazy right now? I mean, can we take from there and transfer into
and-
the
and-
highway?
It'd be
and-
one, I'd like to be able to order. I ordered salt February 22nd, and
Yeah,
I can't get it. I probably won't see salt till the fall.
But is there money in that
There's,
account?
there is.
enough, like 10,000 worth that you can
I don't.
do?
I wish I had it with me. I don't.
I have
it with
snow.
me.
I'm pulling up the one that we're supposed to vote on tonight. I'm trying to find it. I saw it.
You
in
know what I
here.
mean, Bud? Steal
No,
from Peter
you
to
know
pay
what's in the snow
Paul?
and ice budget?
All
left?
things.
Say that again?
What's
What's
in the
left in the snow and ice budget?
budget?
Is it?
What,
Well, we're
there's
deficit
al-
spending.
Deficit
Oh,
spending that.
definitely.
For, not including this week, but I've got 4,221 left, but that budget can be deficit spent
Right,
for the
Right.
purposes of what that budget is, okay?
yeah.
So,
Just
and
Why
it-
can't we do
so
gas
the
out of
memo
it?
Yeah,
has
gas
already
and
gone
it's
out.
it's on there. So yes.
So
For
we
that
we
to
deficit
happen.
spend
Yeah,
on snow and ice for
speaking of that
10,000.
memo, I did read in that
That's
article.
what I'd do.
That article that Terry sent me, the finance committee is actually supposed to approve that as well. And that's.
Not according to the municipal, the new municipal, what do you call it?
How new is it?
So take it out of snow and ice.
2017?
We can deficit spend it.
Let's-
It's you.
Oh, the
I
modernization
think the
act?
person that
Oh,
approves it
yes,
is the
that's
town
right.
manager.
That's right. The Modernization Act. That's right. Now I
Yeah.
remember. All right. Yeah, that
Go ahead, I'll
was
let
that's
you do it,
different.
Jeff. I'm putting in your court.
Right now, I at this for just kind of from a knowing highways, I went along with 20, and I kind of wished I had encouraged higher. That's a little bit of my problem too. Is I quite frankly I was thinking closer to 30 when you and I talked on the
Yep.
phone. My mind was actually on 30,000 because we still have events coming
Right.
that we don't know about. Snow and the whole fuel within the snow and ice. I would think some of the fuel could be designated for snow and ice. Well,
Certainly can.
something
You know, all
we
the
should,
trucks.
something we should think about doing, Bud,
Yep.
so we can put some of the fuel from snow and ice over onto snow and ice. Is to maybe do we still dip the tanks?
Yeah.
Okay, if we know an event's coming, dip the tanks, and then when the event's over, dip the tanks again. Then you know roughly, or you can actually record it too.
Yeah.
Roughly how much fuel's been used.
Yeah.
So something like that would be helpful. Then you can say, okay, this is how much we can. You can just put an invoice
Right.
toward snow and ice versus
The regular highway.
Yeah, instead of the regular highway. That would be, and judging by what I read on that thing, that would be acceptable.
Okay.
So why don't we?
Right.
But the fact
So-
remains that if we approve 20,000, only 20,000 here tonight transfer, basically you're just getting level. And you
Yeah.
can't pay any bills rest of the year.
More or
So I
less
think
that's-
that's kind of silly.
Absolutely.
I would recommend that we raise that to 30.
Okay,
That'll buy a little time,
I'll entertain a
but not excessive by any means.
I will
I think we're
entertain a
gonna
motion
make
to
it
amend.
flush at the end of the fiscal year.
They'll use it.
Right, it'll be flush, it'll all be gone. Because that's the average of what you need.
So May 1st, he'll be ready.
He'll be empty.
We'll be back here doing. Well, we do them every year in May.
Mhm.
You haven't been through that part yet, Tom. In May, generally we go through a kind of a series. It's usually 1 or 2 meetings, isn't it, Sandy or Jeff? It's usually a couple of meetings
Yeah,
where we do a
we-
bunch of
interdepartmental transfers.
interdepartmental transfers.
There's always 2
Plus, we
meetings.
go over the capital expenditures before. This is just before town meeting.
Right.
Is when we do that, and generally we do that in May. So just to kind of
Yep.
bring you up to speed to what as to how that works. So we would actually be able to replenish some of that, and if we just got to get to May 1st.
Right. Right.
So, and we've got Sandy, is there anything else other than police? Is there anything else that you can see that's heading for deficit? I just had a sheet print. I had your assistant print a sheet. I was going to go through it maybe today or tonight or tomorrow. I was going to go through the sheet and see where we were at with deficits, only because of the reserve fund. These transfers today, I just wanted to kind of see where things were headed.
Are you talking about your expenditure report?
Yeah. I had her.
Oh.
I had her make
Yeah.
an expenditure report for me today. I asked her if she could make one. She was fine with it, and so I didn't have a chance to read it because it was a little crazy today. But I just wanted to read through it and see what was just kind of see if we've got anything on the horizon. The last glance at it, which was last month, it doesn't look like we've got anything other than highway and police on the horizon that I can see.
Well,
and IT.
You certainly, yeah. You have tech,
Yeah.
IT.
And then we're going to take care of that tonight.
Right. There's some things that might be getting close, but I haven't taken a good look yet either. So
Okay. Yeah.
I just know. I just knew that, just per chance, I happened to come across the fact that with the last warrant on May 28th, there was a deficit in highway. I was very surprised to see that. So that was my rush to
Okay.
make sure that got taken care of, because just
All right.
I shouldn't have been able to pay that, but I did. So sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. All right. I'd entertain a motion to amend the motion.
So I'd like to make a motion to amend the motion to approve a $30,000 transfer from Reserve Fund Department 132 to Highway Department number 420.
Second.
A motion has been made to amend the motion,
Just wait.
and a motion's been made and seconded, made by Jeff Noble and seconded by Karen Schmidt, to transfer from the Reserve Fund 132 to Highway Department 420 in the amount of $30,000. That is an increase from the previous motion. All those in favor of amending the motion signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That is unanimous. Thank you very much.
Any
The
more?
motion, I will read the present motion. The present motion on the table is a transfer from Reserve Fund account 132 to Highway account 420 of roadway materials in the amount of $30,000. All right. Are there any further questions on the motion? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That is unanimous. Thank you very much.
9.
Eight. Can't see Mike.
He's hiding.
He's hiding.
He's sneaky.
All right.
That Mike guy in the corner hiding. You're hiding. He can't see.
Trying to count the members.
That was complimentary. All right. So, all right, Sandy, I just signed it. I'll have it over to you tomorrow.
Okay, great.
Awesome. Now let's do the next Highway Department Reserve Fund transfer. This was a little more straightforward.
So you can help us out a little bit here in advance. Do we have this plus one more?
And plus, we have one more. It'll be the IT,
And that's in the amount of about 7,500?
7,500. So
This is
we
4,800, so, okay.
Yep.
Just so we have
Are
a
we
handle
doing
on
the
how much
40
we're
are we
getting
doing the
ourselves
highway?
into here.
Yep. So presently we
Instead of
have
getting piece by piece.
presently we have $35,000 in the reserve fund.
Right.
After that motion.
I'll make a motion to approve a reserve fund transfer from account number 132 reserve fund to Highway Department 420 building repair expense item, and in the amount of $4,800.
Second.
The motion has been made by Jeff Noble, seconded by Karen Schmidt, for a reserve fund transfer from reserve fund account 132 to highway account 420 building repair in the amount of $4,800. All right, so. All right, Bud, you want to give this one a shot?
Yeah, this one comes from, well, it kind of goes back to December. One of our employees had an accident, got his finger pinched, and he hasn't been back to work since. He actually gets it amputated Friday. So Department of Labor Standards came just to investigate it. And when they did, we had to do some reporting. And when they came they chatted with me. They're like, while we're here, you want to schedule us to come through your garage and get you guys all set for, we'll go through, we'll inspect everything so you are, in order in case OSHA ever comes or whoever else. And so they came and end of January, I believe, and sent me a report in February. And some of you may have been to the highway garage, but in the middle of the garage, there's a trench goes right through the middle. It's just for washing vehicles. It starts at one end, it's like this deep, and at the other end, it's probably this deep. And it goes out just from washing trucks and dripping off trucks. And the grate's been broken for as long as I've ever been there, so it's just pieces of plywood on top. So it's a trip hazard. And so when they sent me their report, there's I think 9 things I got to do, which most are minor. I've already done I think 5. This is one of them that needs to be done, and they said April 25th. They're like, right now it's a 0. They didn't charge us for it or anything, but it needs to be repaired by April 25th, or at least show that we're doing it.
Yeah.
They're very good guys. The 2 guys I met with, the inspectors are great people. But that's one thing we got to do, and then the other one I got to figure out what I'm going to do with it. One other issue to do is we have 8 garage doors, 5, 2, 3, 8 garage doors at the highway garage, and one of them has the sensors on the bottom. So if someone walks out, it stops. 7 of them don't, and I got to figure I'm going to talk to them about seeing if I can get that to after July 1st or something, because I just I can't ask for too much.
If you get lucky and don't spend all that roadway material money, well, you might have a couple
So
little
I
bit
have
of
to look-
cash sitting there. I'm thinking not, but it is what it is.
Have you got quotes on these grates?
Yes, that's what the $4,800 is. I
You know-
contact.
You know that number?
Yeah, that number is 48.
Okay.
I had a contractor come and
Okay.
about cutting it and
Yeah.
setting the grates. And
Great.
That's
Are they gonna
Great.
Are they gonna use steel or plastic
He's
crates?
going to use steel,
Okay.
so
I-
which is fine.
I was hoping for plastic, but I
Right.
ended up with steel. I'm good.
Yeah. We'll get it back, so it won't be a trip hazard anymore. But it is awful. It always has been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time I walk through, I almost trip over.
We don't have much choice under
Yeah.
violation, it's
Right.
gotta be fixed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And to top it off, it's actually something that's needed to be fixed anyway.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's just,
been-
we've been remiss in getting it done, so
Yep.
let's get it done. All right. Are there any other questions? Any comments? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed. That is unanimous. Thank you very much.
That leaves it with 30,200.
Next. This one's a little different. That's for the IT budget.
Oh, not Bud.
Not me. No.
Not, but we're gonna,
Goodness, at least
we're
it's
gonna
not me
catch
this
you on the
time.
highway
We
department.
take care of
budget.
this and then we'll talk about the budget.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
I'd like to make a motion to approve a reserve fund transfer from account number 132 reserve fund to IT department number 157 in the amount of $7,500.
Second.
A motion has been made by Jeff Noble, seconded by Karen Schmidt for a reserve fund, for a transfer from reserve fund account 132 to IT account 157 in the amount of $7,500. All right. So, Mitch, can you speak to this?
I think
If you would, or is Pat here?
I thought Pat was out there.
I saw him walk by, but I didn't know if he stuck around or not. It's awful dark out there. That means no one's moving around.
He's plowing probably.
Oh, you think Pat's plowing?
No, we would have seen him.
Or is he out
I
there?
am too. Can't you tell?
Yeah, right.
I was out there.
We've got you pinned down. It sounds Pat has pretty much explained this to me, it has to do with our backup servers in the main office. And isn't it backup server for the highway department, or is it the police? I can't remember which one. It was one of those.
So, when we did the stuff for waste management,
Yeah.
that Jane was taking care of, and then Jane
Right.
left, and then the Board of Health is no longer taking care of waste management, is gonna go to highway. So
Okay.
they were fighting as how to get those files back and forth to the highway department, which has been, connecting the highway department has been on the roadmap for forever.
Yeah.
But they wanted to be able to share those files with not only the highway department, but also Tom and Alyssa, and I think there's somebody else that's in that list that is using the highway files. So we finally got to the point where it's, let's just connect the highway department. So we created a VPN between town hall and the highway department, connected the computers that were in the highway department to town hall, made a location on the server for highway department and waste management, and gave them access to the files that are actually at town hall. So now their files also get backed up.
Okay, so everything's becoming up to date. You know what's funny about this is I recall a few years ago, this was all supposed to happen. Matter of fact, I thought, Sandy, I might be mistaken. It was quite some time ago. Wasn't there supposed to be some sort of fiber connection made over to? This is pre.
Well, we're working on getting pricing for that as well.
Yeah.
So we have a contractor that gave us a quote for fiber links from Town Hall to Council on Aging, Council on Aging to Pine Grove Park, Pine Grove Park to Highway back to Town Hall. So it's basically a fiber ring back and forth. So we would be able to put equipment here in Council on Aging, Pine Grove Park, and the reason for Pine Grove Park is because we were looking at putting cameras because there has been significant damage to the facilities. I guess they kicked the door in one weekend.
Yeah, it's scary.
Oh,
So
okay.
they wanted to put cameras out there, which the cameras I think have already been purchased.
Oh, cool.
We're waiting to put those in, but we need the connectivity
Right.
to be able to view them.
Yeah.
So what this was to do was to get highway connected, but in the future is to get equipment put in place so that there is our own private connection to highway, Pine Grove Park, Council on Aging, and then if any of the 4 links were to get severed by, I don't know, telephone pole or one of the sites going down, the other,
Go from the
they
other
could use the
direction.
links to
Yeah.
come back to Town Hall or go back the other way.
Yeah.
If there wasn't, it's sometimes best, I've seen people go through and hit it with a backhoe and all of a sudden you turn around and go, the lights just went out. So this was to kind of try and build some redundancy into it.
Yeah. Okay.
Not in our
But
highway
they're looking for a grant
No.
to do that, I think.
Okay. Yes, Tom.
On a related matter, which
Yeah.
you just mentioned, depending on how much money it takes, I'm preparing a warrant article for the town meeting to broaden the authorization for an IT rewiring of town hall to include an IT rewiring of town facilities. So that borrowing, I think, has not been implemented yet. Sandra may have more information on that, but there's $200,000 that was authorized to rewire town hall for IT. And I think it might help in this regard as well.
Yeah, the rewiring of Town Hall, I was thinking would be in conjunction with the abatement, stuff that we're doing.
Which is
That's
now
all another
much more expensive than we
Yeah,
had
I
originally
mean,
anticipated.
you
All right.
look up in where
Yeah.
the opera hall is, and it's just a spaghetti of wire. We're like, oh, we need a connection over there,
Yeah, that
and
All right.
to clean that up,
It-
label it, make it what
that
it's
can be
supposed to
done.
be.
We have more borrowing authorization than we need for that.
All right.
So broadening the authorization would not only allow that, but perhaps this other work to be done as well.
Okay. So this will be a sufficient amount of money for for us to get this work done? Does
Pat was
think-
thinking this was sufficient. He said he would be more comfortable with 10,000 originally, but he didn't want to push his luck. It's kind of.
Well,
Why, is he
we're
gonna be
getting-
coming
We're more
back?
comfortable with 7,500 or less.
At this,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, at this
And
juncture.
I'll just abstain from.
Yeah.
Well,
voting on it.
absolutely. That was I just wanted to
I just
kind of
wanted-
for everyone's
I wanted to
application.
inform
Mitch,
more than anything.
yeah, just and also for any audience people. Mitch owns a company that contracts with the town for our IT services, and he also happens to be a resident. So we are making sure that we're keeping things within the boundaries of Dalton, which is a good thing to have.
The only
happen.
other thing that I was going to note on this as well is that I don't think the information that was generated for the cemetery has ever been in a protected location, and the VPN and putting the data from the highway on the town hall's network, I think is protected at this point.
What's
Yeah, because it's all in
I
there.
didn't see it, or I mean,
It should all be in there.
I copied all the stuff, but I never saw it delineated to cemetery. But that's what I was.
Yeah, it should be. I mean, that's the computer for it.
That's excellent. Yeah.
So it should be all set, I would think.
Yeah.
There's no other computer or anything at
And that
the
was
cemetery office.
That was like critical data. That I guess that dates back forever, and you
Yeah.
have to have that. So it was a big.
Just- And just to let everyone know that all the IT that is taking place within the town, myself and Dom Zapopolo, who's a former member of this committee, we've been advocating increasing and improving upon the IT within this town since I've been on this committee, and that's roughly it's going on 28 years now, so 27 years now. So it's been a long time, and it's quite frankly good to see, because it makes the operation far more efficient. So it's going to cost us some money, but we're actually it's seems to me to be leveling out actually. So which is kind of good.
Well, I think we're gonna have this next big bump with the moving everybody to the bank building, and then moving them back. But after that, it feels like everything's
Yeah, it
much
is.
more up to date than it's ever been. Did you have
Okay.
more?
Okay. Are there any other questions about the IT budget? Or the IT
reserve fund
fund transfer? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify in the usual manner.
Right.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, that is unanimous. Thank you very much.
This is one abstention.
Oh,
Mitch-
yeah, I'm
Mitch
sorry,
abstained.
one abstention. Good thing. Oh, I gotta fix that.
So with that being said, I have for reserve funds
Balance.
balance of 32,700 remaining
Yikes.
until June 30th.
What could happen?
What could happen?
Nothing,
I don't know.
nothing.
We hope.
This is the right one.
Okay.
Let's just
Oh,
take
yeah.
a look. Let's just take a look back here for just a second.
We didn't approve the highway budget, did
Oh,
we?
I didn't. I think that it was.
Where's that one sheet?
Trying to look at the 20. I don't. I have it. I had the 20. It'll be in my expenditure sheets that I just got. Reserve fund of late. We've actually been leaving over $20,000 a year in reserve funds. We've been leaving a fair amount. We haven't vaporized them in a long time. But
This is an.
It's okay.
let's try not to. But
It's okay.
right, we don't. But that's been the case for the most part. All right. So let's move on now to the highway budget. On to our regular duties. I'd like to, if we can, do highway and snow and ice, if it's at all possible this evening.
One at a time.
And well, of course, one at a time. And if everyone is okay with it, we can try to wrap. Do we want to try to wrap up at 8 o'clock like we usually do, or do you want to run longer?
See where we go.
Okay, let's go.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the budget for Highway Department number 420, consisting of salaries of $331,584 and expenses of $196,524 for a total budget of $528,108, an increase of 9.57% over the prior year.
Second.
A motion has been made by Jeff Noble, seconded by Tom Irwin. For the highway budget, Department 420, in the amount of $331,584 in salaries, $196,524 in expenses, for a total budget of $528,108 for a 9.57% increase. Okay.
How is it that salaries end up less than last year?
Because of the 15,000.
Salaries
It's the first one we've seen.
Everybody's gone up. It has, but where towards the bottom is the highway laborer, transfer station attendant.
Uh-huh.
That person is now into the transfer station budget. So it kind of just makes the highway look better, but it's going to make the transfer station look worse.
Yeah, it's all right. Transfer station's gonna get really ugly before it gets really.
Yeah, so
That's
that's
a whole nother
that's what
committee.
that is. And then same thing here is the police. They're still negotiating. So this isn't 100. This is once again I think the same. I think it's real close. And most of it I think is gonna be fine.
Changes.
And it should be. It'll be
Pretty cool.
tiny, but
Sounds good.
And the transfer station is just manning the area below, right?
yes, that transfer station. Yeah, he just the leaf brush pile guy. That's what that person is. Yeah.
All right.
And then I'm trying to think of anything else.
So the big
Just
items
a-
are the equipment and vehicle repairs as far as expenses go.
That was when
Of course, the road materials.
the select board. When I went to the select board with this, they told me to put, $50,000. I said 30 on road materials and 10 each in equipment repair and vehicle repair. Before it came to you, is what they suggested to me. So that's what I adjusted and I did that. So those are the ones that are up.
And what is the
Did
intent,
we-
what's the intent behind that of back history?
I think the back history especially is prices have gone up and everything. And then obviously road materials, we're here for that tonight. Kind of. And now with not being the snow and ice thing, which whatever, it is what it is. I got to use more on my road materials, which that's where that'll come up. And, for paving, patching, whatever it may be. Then the vehicle repairs, we haven't had a mechanic in a while. But also it's, everything's so pricey. It's been crazy. And the same thing with equipment repair. We do have some older pieces equipment wise, which are, taking a little bit of a beating, but
Do we have any of those going into,
not this year.
okay.
Not this year, I don't.
The roadway
have to
material,
finish
just to
that.
kind of let everyone know, at one point, the roadway
I thought
material
we had
budget was over $100,000 many years ago. And then in fiscal 2009, we had we kind of had the school had come in with a budget that was pretty substantial in that year, and we actually had to adjust our budget to accommodate the school system. So we're only just to kind of we're just trying to get back to where we were once upon a time. We've had a lot of good years, and we haven't built back into that part of the budget. So it's actually, this is good for me. This is good to see. We're going to probably, with any measure of luck, we're going to see fewer potholes around the town because we'll be able to use hot stuff instead of cold stuff to fix them. So they won't run out of money so quickly with any measure of luck. Although thanks to the hot black stuff, we might have a bit of trouble, but I don't think it's going to be double the amount.
I understand that the cost is gonna be going up, obviously, with the materials, but that's a pretty big jump, and if historically we haven't,
Another jump.
we have.
Do we have our actual, do we have the actual expenses for the current year?
Well, I'm looking at right here, the road materials, actuals in 2020, according to these numbers, 35,571. Budgeted for 21 was 34,000, spent 16,000. Budgeted in 22 was 34,000, we spent 32 already.
There's a reason for
But,
that.
there's 35, 34, 34. Why 64?
Once again, I'll come back to the winter with the material I have to get in the winter to chase potholes. We've been doing a lot of work this year, and I feel as though a lot of things were the past few years. put it nicely, weren't not, we can say. And I know I have a lot of things I gotta do out there. And this, this was suggested by the select board. Of course, I wanted more money in that line item. And they're the ones, they said you should put for chasing whatever it may be. I mean, if you guys don't agree, then that's.
Well,
We're just trying to.
Yeah, no, and that's, I
Didn't we
get
just-
it,
Yeah.
I totally understand.
Yeah.
Didn't we just move that over though? It was, last year's budget was 34,000, we just did the
Transfer
transfer of 30,000
equals.
into that account to fix the,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
to
The
fix the
deficit?
debt.
I just wonder why are
Right.
things so different? They've been 34 for 3 years in a row, and now,
oh yeah,
What
is this a
happened?
really harsh winter or something? That
Or-
really
or
I think,
they-
I
killed
think.
us?
been grossly under
there's
maintained.
been-
Yes, I think,
Strong
thank you.
possibility.
Thank you, Jeff. I was trying to think of a way to put that. Yes, that's from my opinion, and I think you might find a vast number of our constituents would agree that, I
Like
happened to
to see
take
our
a little
roads.
drive around this town, and I counted back in 2021 and also 2020, I took a little ride around this town, and I counted over 30 sinking manholes in this town, belonging to the town, being sewer or
Oh, we have them on my street.
absolutely. That $16,000 spent in 2021 actual, that was a joke. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it at this point.
So-
because I have many constituents that are looking over my shoulder wondering why our roads are falling apart. Well, that's because of inaction. And this is what we're trying to do, is trying to now stick some Band-Aids on this. When back a couple of years ago, I kind of made it pretty well known on television that this was all going to happen to us. And the taxpayers chose to do something that was extremely expensive and without regard with what was coming to the town. So unfortunately, here we are, and I don't know how to tell people this, that we're up against something that's been building for quite some time, for many years. I would say a solid 10, I'd be closer to 15,
Right.
that this has been building up. So unfortunately, it's now, and when it comes to roadways, if you stay on top of them, instead of constantly out there going like this, whack-a-mole kind of thing, if you don't go out there and do the whack-a-mole thing, actually roadways can be pretty kind to you. You can pavement that they say you can only get 14 years out of, like for instance South Street, you can actually get nearly 20 years out of that with good maintenance. So just like any other thing.
So is 65 enough, or 64 enough for road materials? If we just put 30,000 in that account to cover the deficit, and then the cost of petroleum went way up, and asphalt is very petroleum.
You're looking at a highway guy, just to let you know. If it was me, I'd like to see that. From a personal viewpoint, I'd like to see that back at $100,000. But I know that's not going to happen. That's pie in the sky, and that's not going to happen. And I'd be very remiss in even advocating for that. But I would from a personal viewpoint, I wouldn't have a problem with another 20,000 there. I would have no problem with that. We would be able to, with that, we could probably stabilize Dalton Division Road, because at this point, we're not sure when that's going to go. So that's going to be a pretty big nugget, just to get that thing, just at the present tip date, which is 2027, I think.
Six.
It's 2026. All right, I was just reading that the other
What's the
day.
tip date?
It's the Transportation Improvement Act.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Program.
So Transportation Improvement Program. Thank you. So because that moved around on the tip for us, what happens is if it goes any further than that, there's a thing called losing the roadway. What can happen if you lose the roadway is the money that we allocated just to do the engineering for that, it can cost us just to get it to the time where we can do full depth reconstruction and really fix it the way it should, is going to cost us what we have, the $850,000 we allocated for the engineering on it.
Okay.
So that road, we are on the cusp of losing that road right now. Another 3 years, and Bud's got his hands full just to get it through the next 3 years. He's got this man's got his hands full just to get that one road, and we've got Orchard Road's falling apart. road up your way.
Is that not
Frederick?
Sleepy Hollow or Frederick?
Yeah,
Frederick's pretty bad.
Frederick, Sleepy
Frederick,
Hollow.
Sleepy Hollow, that whole
That's
group of roads up
Laundry
there
across
starting
the
to
way,
fall apart.
that's-
So plus we have countless manholes that are falling in as well. So, you know, if we could put 20 grand in there and hire a contractor to go and start straightening the manholes up, I'd be doing backflips around this place. But that's,
Well, I think
But
if the,
anyway.
you know, the taxpayers probably wouldn't question this, but if we have specifics, you know, to back up the increase, I'm sure they'd be happy to have their, you know, their roads fixed and,
yeah.
you know.
I think the town would jump up and down to have Dalton Division Road fixed.
No way you're gonna do
Be
it.
part of crowd jumping.
No, you can't even touch that road.
Was it a state
It's-
road?
I just hate to make it like Holmes
$20,000.
Road. You know what I mean? Like they had to shut down half that bridge,
Yeah.
Not a chance.
and made it a mess. And I mean, Dalton Division looks like it's on the cusp of doing the same thing. Where you're gonna have to
It
have
is, but
people
it's
go
not
around it.
$20,000-$30,000 job.
Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a $20,000 or
I-
$30,000
that-
Yeah, I know.
job.
It's
I
actually-
just- you gotta,
What do you think
you
it
gotta
would cost?
grind that whole thing off, right?
Well, I was gonna stop over and see, well, I might as well do it now, Bud, since we're here having a conversation.
From the current.
What I was gonna stop over to the highway garage and ask you to do, just thinking of contingencies in the back of my mind. If we are unfortunate and lose that placement on the tip,
Yep.
could we get from a local contractor or someone to plane and pave Dalton Division Road? In other words, plane off 3, put back 3. If we could get a rough idea of what that would be, any local contractor, you could go down the boys in Lee, West Stockbridge
Yep.
that do that kind of work, give them a call and see what that would be. Maybe we can shave some of the cost by raising our own structures. That would be helpful. But if we could just get a rough number, walk down the road with a wheel and say it's this many feet, this many wide.
Yep.
What would it cost us to have you
Well,
come
you already
and do
know the
that kind of
dimensions,
work?
they're already designed.
Yeah, they're already,
Halfway-
not designed.
halfway.
No, they're not even halfway. They haven't put a pen to
They're,
paper
they're
yet.
laid out. It's enough for- enough for
BCRBC
dimensions.
did a layout, right?
It's enough for dimensions for a contractor to take
Okay,
it
well,
off.
same thing, but
Right.
if we could just have that in the back of our minds, because if it all falls apart and it's under the $850,000, we may have to go back to the taxpayers and say, look, we lost this opportunity.
Right.
We've lost this opportunity.
Yeah, no, I can do that.
We have to go back with our tail between our legs and ask them to move the money, the capital funds from there to, because that'll buy us probably 10 years, 10 to 12 years. That would buy us.
When will we find out if we're off the list?
July, is it?
This is
I'm
July?
sorry?
When would we know that that is going to remain on the tip?
Well, there's an MPO meeting on the 22nd,
22nd of March,
Um,
right?
and I don't know whether they would make a decision at that point or not. I think that's to ascertain that we're still serious about the project. The problem was that it was identified in 2016, and there wasn't, we did not complete the process when I came on board last May, and I've been busy with things that are very urgent. I found out that last winter they had bumped it. It had been scheduled for the previous tip. Then they bumped it to 2026 in this last winter. So they're looking for progress, and I believe we'll be able to show substantial progress on the 22nd.
Agree.
Yep.
So what, I
Give it a
guess,
rip.
yeah.
So that would just put us in for the bid to get the work.
No,
What
what
does
that
that
does
do?
is we have to be able to provide information to the MPO. We have to provide information to them that we're moving forward. In other words, we have a schedule for engineering and a host of other things
Mhm.
that have to take place. And Tom and I have been kind of working together to try to get stuff moving. And Bud, of course, we're trying to keep this thing moving. We may have to get out a riding crop to use our engineers, keep our engineers moving, unless, of course, we get a really great firm, a nice local company right here in Dalton. That would be really cool, but we'll have to see how that goes
Well,
when the process goes. But we have to put the, because of some of the numbers that came out, just a few of the numbers came out, we are actually gonna put the engineering out to bid. And that process will take us to when, if we put it out to, well, it's RFP, right?
Yeah,
Or request for
I
proposal.
wouldn't give it any less than a month, maybe 6 weeks,
6
something on
weeks,
that
yeah.
order.
So that pushes us down probably into, we'll say, for round numbers, the middle of April, to get that information back. And I think there's another deadline in June. I think there's another deadline in there somewhere.
I think it's
Was it
May.
or-
I have May in
Well, I
my
think-
mind.
you know,
Is it May?
Well,
Okay,
Once we get the numbers back, we can probably accept
exactly,
a proposal.
exactly, yes.
The problem was that at the time, in an earlier process, which was started just before I came on, there had been a couple of different numbers that we had seen. And one of them was the number that was used to create the request to Mass DOT, which was the 800,000 number, which was read by town meeting. The number we got back later was about 50% more than that. In fact, 50% more than that. And the difference between those two numbers persuaded me that we needed to go out again and see what we could do, especially with other conversations that I had, that led me to believe that we might be able to get a substantially better deal than the high price that we had seen. So,
The number seemed,
and now
Pretty
we
high.
have the ability to exceed the amount we've authorized to borrow because we have access to the ARPA funds, the American Rescue Plan Act funds. And so that gives us a lot of wiggle room in what we can accept or not. So I think we're in really good shape to accept a proposal when it comes in. But I do want to make sure that we put out a good proposal as well. And I tweaked the one that I was left, and it's still being worked on, but I anticipate it will be ready soon.
yeah, I'm hoping to have that on your desk probably tomorrow.
Oh, good.
Yeah, about a third of the way through it now, and I'll have some time tomorrow morning to, hopefully I'll have it by tomorrow night. I should have that on your desk.
But at any rate, the most optimistic schedule is that Dalton Division Road wouldn't be done until 2026.
That's
Right.
the most
Right.
optimistic we can.
That's when it is scheduled to be done or started by
Right.
Mass
Started
DOT.
construction, not design,
Right.
construction.
Yeah.
Is there any thought of patching it at all?
So that's
I'll
what
have
we're
to.
talking.
There's no way. I'll have to do something.
Oh,
This
yeah.
year for sure. I'll be down there doing something.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
Figured out
probably
exactly
gonna
what-
be, it's probably gonna be a loader and paver,
Yeah.
loader and paver job, not a, fill a hole in. It's gonna
Right.
be one of those.
Yep.
So the increase in road materials is explained, I'd say, probably, that road alone.
So, yeah, we're gonna put probably half of that budget into that
Yeah.
road alone, unfortunately.
I have a question about, under equipment repair, there's overhead door repair. Do you know if that was including the sensors, or is this just
It's
general overhead
not. I
door
think it's
repair?
just general overhead repair, door repair. I believe it's just one of the items that's under there. I believe.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So this is another question of deferred maintenance.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
There's to be honest with you, that building, it's been there since the 70s.
Yeah. I mean,
And
it's
I think somebody told me, isn't it about due for a roof or something like
the
that?
roof leaks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's leaking pretty good.
Due for a roof, as I recall.
Mm.
Is that
But the rest
capital?
of the building's in good shape.
Not
Is it
this
a-
year.
yeah, capital
No, not
expenditure?
this
I
year.
have two. I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can.
Right.
we're
Hoping
gonna-
next year. With any luck, I'm hoping next year for the roof.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like Carol's, could we put it into capital expenditures?
The
The roof, isn't it roof capital?
We could. That goes Tom's direction, other than mine. Maybe we want to think about having the put roof in to the capital someplace. And if we have to, if the capital looks too large for us, because we've also, for the highway, one of the capital things that are going in there is a sidewalk machine for cleaning the sidewalks. From a constituent viewpoint, that one looms larger than a roof at
South
this
Street?
point. because
Yeah,
we
that-
can
What about a
patch,
truck?
That was the
because
plan.
we can patch a
Is a
roof.
truck going
Uh,
better than?
Someone slipping on a sidewalk and getting hurt pretty badly, we can't patch that. So from a liability viewpoint, the sidewalk
Such a roof is safe.
kind of comes in there, but if there's something else, well,
Yeah.
we might
Right.
be able to push that aside.
Yeah, I mean, I could get it together.
If you could get something like that together,
Yeah.
it's a great suggestion.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of that, so
Okay.
it's a great
Sure.
suggestion. Just to let you know, this is the most scrutinized I think I've ever seen this budget. This is good.
That's fine.
This is good.
Just because he's asking for more money.
Right.
Well, yeah, but it's, we've never really had.
And you're gonna look into the
had
overhead
this
door?
opportunity.
Yes, I'm gonna try to
And-
get that together to see what those are, 'cause I haven't looked into it yet. So I'm sure it's not gonna be too great.
Hey, Bill,
Yes.
that borrowing for Dalton Division Road is a debt exclusion,
Oh.
that $800,000.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So
So-
things went bad, really a lot sideways. That might be off that, using that to pave it if things go really sideways on us. Hopefully they won't, but the DOT side of this thing, they're looking very favorable. DOT is looking very favorable on it, but we don't know what happens because other projects come in.
Yeah.
So we're that's put us in a precarious position. So I'm thinking of it, Sandy, more as I'm trying to think of contingencies just in case, because I'd hate to lose that road. We lose it, it gets really expensive really fast.
Yeah.
So, all right. All right.
So where are we with our thinking of approving it as is and or increasing road materials or
Could take a straw poll.
anything else?
Well, Susan, what do you think? Would we suggest 10,000 more?
So this year we're at 64, right?
Right.
Right.
And we're questioning whether or not that's enough at this point.
That seems to be on the table.
Yeah,
I
because
mean, yeah,
we just put 30 into it through reserve fund transfer, and we
Right.
know the roads are not working in our favor at this point from an infrastructure
And
viewpoint.
then if he has to do Dalton Division Road,
He ends up putting a ton of money into Dalton Division Road, and then
Road.
we're back to the reserve fund transfer again.
it's just
Well,
more,
that'll be more than
it'd
that.
be more patching
That'd be-
right now.
Yeah, we're talking about trying to do more, better patching.
Right.
Because for the next year, we'd be patching it no matter what.
Right. And the thing is, the kind of
should be already
patching that
in
needs
here.
to be done on that road, $34,000, it definitely isn't gonna cut it. 64,000 is gonna put a decent dent in it, but I don't think it's gonna finish it.
Right.
so what do you need, another 20,
20.
another 30?
I would advocate.
I don't
for
know,
20.
another 20?
20.
I would advocate for 20,
But
but
if you got the budget of another $20,000, are you gonna, is the situation so dire that's just gone? I mean, where do
It's a
we
start.
stand?
You know?
No, I'm not
No,
disagreeing.
I think it's a start where I'd be able to get something done down there, and I can get a hold of a contractor, and I can look into doing it if it's something we can do. If it's not, I mean, because I'm gonna have to cut some patches out of that road and put it down to gravel and bring it back up and build it back up again, just because there's some of those areas are just
They're terrible.
beyond repair.
Right.
that
You
guy,
know what I mean?
that,
It's-
that
Look at
section,
Orchard Road.
yeah, the orchard's horrible. That's
you're gonna have,
Orchard's
then
much
you'll
highly
have
more
some,
highly traveled than, I hate to say it, Frederick, you know.
no,
but,
it is.
Yeah, I take
You know,
right
I
job.
walk Frederick every day, I know it's bad,
No,
but,
Orchard,
I don't drive.
Orchard is rough. That's- that's
so
another-
we've actually got two roads that are really going pretty south on
And
us.
well, there's probably
Orchard-
others. It's
Orchard
just,
on your list?
And
Just
Orchard-
no orchards are really bad.
Orchard was on my list until I found out that a couple of years ago they worked. I don't know if you remember, probably 3-4 years ago, that flooded really bad. Coming from the cornfield,
Right.
running right down Orchard Road to the river, like
I
it was
remember
probably
that.
a foot of water. It
Oh,
was,
yeah.
So the drainage that goes from that field, it comes out into Orchard. It also goes through someone's backyard on Pease, down Diamond,
Right.
over behind the 8th
Yes.
green of the golf course to
Yeah.
the river.
Yeah, that's that.
It's this big for the whole field, and there's it's like an 8-inch
yeah.
pipe, and it's a swale coming from Route 9 all the way down,
Yeah.
and it just doesn't handle it, so it blew out everything and over at the corner of the field. So they'd started, the town approved money to engineer that, to do the drainage system over there, to connect it down to the river, to connect it over to Orchard, kind of do away with going through the golf course. And then,
This golf course
It's
and all
just-
this?
well, it's not going to go through the golf course
Okay.
anymore.
That's what I mean.
It's going to go down Orchard.
Are they relying on it for water? Is the-
No, it's just 8-inch.
I don't know enough.
Clay, it's a clay
That's the
pipe where it's
golfer.
leaking all over the place in the middle of the woods over there.
Oh,
You better get it out of there.
Yeah, they'd be happy to be gone, I'm sure.
Right.
But that is,
that's good.
that was out, and they were doing engineering on it. And then it came to, predecessor wasn't
Okay,
catching up with
that's
things.
close enough.
And it kind of got neglected. It just got put on the table, nothing got done for 2 years.
Okay.
So it just sat.
So where is it now?
It's supposed to be starting this
City.
month.
Okay.
I made contact with them to get it going, to get it done. We applied for a grant to try to get the drainage work done. So we're trying to get that done.
Is it?
Because it's not, I don't want to repave it and then have to dig it
Right.
out to do the drainage.
So
I mean,
right.
just,
So
so that's going to be a patching, that's going
that's
summer
going
there
to
as
be
well.
patching summer there
Right.
as well.
That's
so
it's going to be
$20,000
that's
is
rough.
probably not
Yeah.
going to go far, but it'll get a. It
Do a
should,
lot better than what we got.
it'll go a lot
Yes.
further. Okay,
Yep.
What if
Right.
we just take it up to 85?
85 even. Okay. God, I like the way you think.
Sure.
I like the way you think.
I was gonna do, I don't know at this point.
All right. Someone want to make a motion to amend the motion?
Can I ask one last question,
Yes.
please?
Well,
Yes.
So one of my grave concerns, if we have another winter, just like the winter we had,
Yep.
what is that going to mean for the patching we do?
I mean, you'll find kind of where the bad spots are in the road, unfortunately. You know, I mean, there's definitely some roads that it's going to be an issue. But some of the roads will be paved this year, so hopefully the worst ones.
Do we know the areas that are really bad, so that maybe we go and put some underlayment underneath to where we're gonna lay the asphalt, so it would, we wouldn't have a repeat?
We could definitely try to make it all better where we're going to go and make the underneath a
We
little bit.
can't, right, because we can't do the whole road, that's ridiculous, we don't have the money.
Right.
But there are certain areas that are just ugly,
Yes.
and for very short stretches, we may be able to put, rubble run or whatever it's called in Massachusetts, underneath
Yep.
there, whatever is required, in order to be able to get the thing to drain well.
To firm it up, so
Right,
it wouldn't be
so
such
that
an
we
issue.
don't end up next year needing, 105 to patch not only
Right.
the new year's stuff, plus also some of last year's.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it definitely would be to do it the right way. That's why it's going to cost.
Okay,
Unfortunately, we'll get all the patches going in the right direction.
very good, thank you.
the planers are going to be busy, I think, on
Yeah.
a couple of roads
In
this
that
year.
case.
I think.
I'm gonna make a motion to amend it.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's have a motion to amend.
I'll make a motion to, excuse me, amend the budget for the Highway Department number 420 to increase the line item for road materials to $85,000, which would be an additional $21,000 onto the expense line, making that number, somebody math,
Yeah, it's gonna be,
$217,524.
$217,524. Second.
Do we have a second?
second,
A motion has been made to amend the highway budget number 420 from $64,000 to $85,000 in the road materials line item for a $21,000 difference. Yeah, I don't. The totals will be next.
549108, that's what I came up with.
Yep, I agree.
Okay. Is there any discussion on the motion to amend? All seeing or hearing no further discussion, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed? That is unanimous. Thank you very much. The maker of the motion, Jeff Noble, and the seconder was Tom Irwin.
Karen.
Oh, Karen Schmidt. I apologize. All right.
She's faster than I am.
Now, the motion, the present motion, what was the,
Yeah, what's the new total?
what was the new total?
549108 was the total, so you had salaries of $331,584,
Okay.
Expenses of 217,524 with a total of 549,108.
Perfect. All right. The motion, the present motion reads, the highway, for the highway department, 420. The budget is, the motion has $331,584 in salaries and $217,524 in expenses, for a total budget of $549,108.
That's a 13.93% increase.
93% increase.
Yep.
What was
Thank
the
you.
increase again?
13.93.
13.93% increase. All right, is there any, we've kind of had quite a discussion about this. Are there any other questions or concerns about this budget? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed, that is unanimous. Thank you very much. Thank you
Thanks,
very
Bud.
much, Bud, for
Appreciate
your
it.
input.
All right.
It's greatly
Thank you.
appreciated.
Thank
No, thank you.
It's,
You made quite a
you.
haul this evening.
Yes.
Don't spread it all in one place.
I don't know.
Blacktop plant. I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah, the hot black stuff. So now on to snow and ice. That's I think that's, we have cemeteries done by you as well.
cemeteries, parks.
Oh, that's parks.
So
Okay,
I-
we'll do that later.
Yeah, I got snow and ice, cemetery, parks.
I,
What else? Sewer. Yeah.
Tree warden.
you
Tree
want,
warden.
Holy cow.
You got all those?
I got a lot of different hats. Yeah.
do we want to continue on Bud, since we have Bud here? Would everyone like to
Yes.
continue on with those?
Why not?
And then we'll get them done. Okay, let's do snow and ice then. And then fish out all the others.
I'll make a budget. I'll make a motion to approve the budget for Snow and Ice Department number 423, comprised of salaries of $28,855 and expenses of $131,610 for a total budget of $160,465, an increase of 0.65%
Second.
prior year.
A motion has been made by Jeff Noble, seconded by Tom Irwin, for the snow and ice budget number 423 in the amount of $28,855 in salaries and $131,610 in expenses, for a total budget of $160,465, a 0.65 increase.
The only thing there is just the 3.75 for the salaries for the. That's pretty much what that is.
Right.
Everything else, I think I left the same. The only thing that may change is the sidewalk clearing. There's 11,000 for the rental of the machine we have, and depending on what happens capital-wise, if I get that, we won't use that 11,000. But
Yeah.
it's in there, just
Yeah, honestly, like materials and that you'll be using with that machine
Yeah.
will end up here instead, so that'll be good. We'll have room for that.
But otherwise, it's the same.
All right. Are there any other questions regarding snow and ice? I think Bud's out there doing an admirable job getting him and his crew are getting the job done out there. It certainly looks like.
Tonight.
Yeah, I think they are out there. They're still out there.
Yeah. They're still out there.
Yeah, we're
Just to let them send them all a note saying you're here working hard
They're
trying
still
to
gonna
get
get paid.
yeah.
Get 'em so they can
Yeah,
get
they're
paid.
fine. They're fine.
Good.
Sandy, anything we should know on this?
They're a good bunch over there.
No, I think it's good. So it's not reduced. We don't want it to be reduced because it causes problems about having to deficit spend.
Right.
If you reduce your budget and
Right.
you run over your budget. So it's an increase, which is good, it's fine. And yeah,
I like the $200
I think it's good.
batch.
Believe it or
We
believe,
just spent $20,000. Like something's wrong with this picture.
well, that's what it
Did you
is.
see that?
Yeah,
I'm like,
I just
wait a
looked down
minute,
and noticed
this
it.
is so
Just
like,
scratched my head.
what?
Whatever.
Wait a minute,
Leave it
reallocation
alone.
here.
Leave it alone.
We're not gonna
All
touch
right.
that.
Sorry. Do any of you have any other questions or concerns about this budget? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed? That is unanimous. Thank you very much.
What's another one, Bud?
Sewer, park, cemetery.
Oh,
What
you
do
ready?
you got?
Sewer?
440.
Sure. 440.
Make a motion to approve the budget for sewer department number 440. Yep. Comprised of salaries of $43,534 and expenses of $23,050 for a total budget of $66,584, a decrease of 45.78% from the prior year.
I second it.
A motion has been made by Jeff Noble, seconded by Tom Irwin for department, for sewer, department 440, in the amount of $45,534 in salaries and $23,050 in expenses, for a total budget of $66,584, a decrease of,
I
Yeah,
think
this-
you
I have-
misspoke, it's
this-
43,500.
I have a different.
oh,
$43,534 in
oh,
salaries.
the salaries are $43,534.
Yes.
$500.
You know what it was? For some reason. that one
For a
doesn't
total
have-
budget of $66,584.
Because they were in negotiation, I think it's an older one.
Let's decrease, so
This is the one that it's.
Because they
yeah.
What,
knock
what,
out the
what,
operator.
what?
It's all, a
Ours
couple
is
things
wrong?
that, yes,
Ours is
Yes.
wrong.
yours is wrong.
Reopen. We don't have negotiations, we don't have an update. Sorry.
It's this one, I have the right one, but I don't have enough copies.
I don't even have that one either.
Boy, we are together tonight.
we are getting it
We
out
are.
there.
Somebody say cocktails.
Yeah.
Motion's been made and
Okay.
seconded, so.
The motion, yes.
All right, we have to
Unfortunately,
redo
the
or
motion
something.
has been made and seconded, so
Okay.
why don't we
So how do we do
carefully
it?
go along here?
I'll have to amend it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll just make it a motion, we'll amend the motion. Thank you very much for having that, because I didn't have it. I probably have it somewhere in here, I have no idea where.
Me either.
Oh, Bill's got it. You better get it from Bill.
What am I
Bill,
doing?
can you just tell us what those
Tom's
numbers
doing
are?
something with the
Is
math.
there a copy on it?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm sure they do. It might be locked up.
Oh, yeah, probably.
I think it's locked up. They keep
That's
things
fine.
locked
So-
up pretty tight around here.
I have a question. I did just find that 43,534
Yeah.
in salaries and the 23,050 in expense. But it was back from February 23rd. And I don't know.
All the
I
salaries
don't know.
weren't on there, is what it is.
Yeah, the salaries weren't on it.
I am, so you better be
So,
right.
we have a new one, Sandy,
Because I gotta put that.
that
Okay.
Bud has handed us to consider here tonight. So we're going to amend the motion.
Now, we can do one of two things. We could simply
We can do a lot of things.
rescind the motion. Can you rescind the motion? I'm gonna look at our parliamentarian.
I don't remember. I think
You can make a motion to rescind the previous motion,
Okay.
and then it's seconded, and then we just have.
So that goes away, and then we make a new motion. All right.
Is it one seconded?
It was seconded.
Yes, it was seconded. So,
I'll make a motion to rescind the prior motion to approve the budget for sewer department 440.
I second it.
a motion has been made by Jeff Noble, seconded by Tom Irwin, to rescind the previous motion made for sewer department number 440.
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry. All those in favor? All those in favor? All those in favor?
All right.
Signify in usual manner. It's good. I got a parliamentarian over here. You don't get those very often. Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Sounds like we got eyes
I
everywhere.
guess,
I think
yeah.
the eyes have it. All right. We're getting punchy. We're into the
Yeah.
past
Yeah.
2 hours.
Yeah.
We've got to kind of wrap this up here. So now let's. That was unanimous to rescind that motion.
So I'll make a
Now
new
we're on a
motion.
new motion.
So I will make a motion to approve the budget for sewer department number 440, comprised of salaries of $108,447, expenses of $23,050, for a total budget of $131,497, an increase of 7.07%.
I second it.
A motion has been made by Jeff Noble, seconded by Tom Irwin, for the sewer department, number 440, the amount of $108,447 in salaries and $23,050 in expenses, for a total budget of $131,497, a 7.07% increase.
Would you mind just reading the blanks that we're filling in here?
Sure. Which ones are blanks?
Operator step,
Let me do the first one. First line is $19,222 for superintendent salary.
What is it?
There.
The superintendent's salary is $19,222.
Thank you.
Administrative assistant is $2,110. The foreman is $22,269. Operator step 3, $41,280. Operator step 1, $18,275, with an overtime worked for sewer emergencies of $5,291.
Thank you.
You're welcome. For a total salaries, Sandy, of $108,447.
Okay, thank you.
Hopefully that math worked.
All right.
So as a matter of explanation, Bud, primarily the changes in the salaries.
Yeah, it looks like the primary changes are in just in the
Yeah,
salary.
it's just
in the
salary,
salary.
and I think I
Salary
shuffled,
adjustments.
equipment rentals, I decreased because we bought a mini excavator, that's usually what we're renting, to dig holes. And I used it in sewer flusher repairs, I think I kinda shuffled it down.
Yeah, you just,
I just took it out of one and put it to the other,
Yep.
cause the sewer flushers, seems to be a little pricey to get parts for that at the moment. So that's pretty much what the expenses changed,
So
it just got
expenses
shuffled.
ended up even.
Even, it just shuffled it, yep.
and then you're going for a capital project too?
So yes, there is a capital for that. It's the a sewer inspection camera for us to check the lines out instead of having, usually pay somebody to come do it.
Oh, so you have your own camera lines to go check the sewers?
That's what would
Yep,
be,
yeah.
yes, yep.
Okay.
It's around $4,000.
10.
12.
Well,
Oh, how
12,
long is that
12
thing
with the
gonna
locator.
be?
Same
700
as
feet.
all of them. They're all, yeah. They're all,
That's a
it's like 10,000.
200-foot cable, babe.
Historically, Sandy, that this budget seems to work.
Yeah, it does. It's the intergovernmental sewer budget that you're gonna be gawking at,
The what?
that makes up the sewer rate.
Yeah, from Pittsfield, that just got a 10%
Oh, yeah.
increase.
Both of these make up the sewer rate.
That's gonna hurt.
great.
I don't know, I'm not liking Dalton anymore, I think.
But Bud's keeping his
Too
line
expensive.
under control.
Try it.
Yeah, everybody else is keeping their lines under control. Okay, are there any other questions or concerns with the sewer budget? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, that is unanimous, thank you.
What was the next one, Jeff? Park?
Cemetery and tree warden.
What you got over
Cemetery,
there?
cemetery?
Cemetery.
Cemetery?
Cemetery, I have, yeah.
Wants to head to the cemetery.
There it is.
The $12,000.
No, this is gonna.
Yeah.
this
You
is
have a
gonna
revised
be-
one there?
Capital.
Yeah, he's got-
All right,
That's
this
gonna
is-
go under,
They-
later
that's
on.
They stole it.
They just set that
All
off
right.
to the
Cemetery, does
side.
yours have
We'll
this
gonna
have the-
address
Okay.
that.
This one, hopefully.
But,
Well, this doesn't,
We
this
have-
isn't gonna have the
all right.
salaries either.
Capital thing.
Because they're all the, they weren't negotiated, so I turned them.
2022 category is off.
Trying to make sure I get them all straight. You're gonna be the next chairman.
If you look at 5211, the first one where electricity is, you have 1358.
I have oh, I see 1326.
It should be 1326.
Yes,
All right, and then and then,
for 22, and then
20
23
so
is
it-
1358,
okay,
which is what I asked.
and then, so you changed
Karen, we're gonna
it?
skip
I
cemetery.
didn't.
We're skipping cemetery. Did you change it
Do you
to
have-
2200?
Do you have another one?
I have
'Cause that one's
parks,
off.
I have parks, tree warden I know would be
Skip 'em.
straightforward,
Which one's that?
Tree
Tree warden,
warden?
that is 296.
Is that the one that we
296, yeah.
had a lot of questions on? Was it
Yeah,
tree
that one's
warden?
easy.
No,
That one's just
forest warden.
3.75, and I think, oh, I did that.
We're gonna wrap
I
this
had
up
it a
in
couple
8:30.
days.
Tree warden's good.
Tree warden?
No.
Okay.
I went, what I did
Yeah.
at tree warden,
71 and 35,000.
yes, I put 35, that's what I did.
Where?
We're gonna wrap this up.
So you all should have gotten these updated budgets this afternoon.
Nope.
Huh.
We'll see.
I'm-
I got
So what-
it. I got it, and you guys are copied, so.
I was gonna say, as far as I know, I saw a thing from Alyssa there. I didn't have a chance opportunity to open it.
So what's with this one?
Tree warden,
Yeah,
number 296.
yeah.
Salaries of 2471 and expenses of 35,340.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm trying to find it.
I don't have it now.
Why, but
37,811.
why was the cost of services so much more this year than previous? Was there a storm problem? Or
This is
what
my
hurt us?
first, this was before my time. I think because, I mean, you gotta pay
We
prevailing
need to
wage.
open the open the
sorry.
discussion of
let's
the budget
open
first.
it.
Yeah,
Oh,
we'll
I'm
get-
sorry.
That's all right.
That's okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the budget for tree warden, department number 296, comprised of salaries of $2,471 and expenses of $35,340, for a total budget of $37,811, an increase of 15.23% from the prior year.
I second it.
A motion's been made by Jeff Noble, seconded by Tom Irwin, for the tree warden budget number 296, in the amount of $2,471 in salaries and $35,340 in expenses, for a total budget of $37,811, a 15.23% increase. Is there any discussion? You can go now.
So the-
Yeah, where more trees fell? or
It's
what
just,
happened?
it's usually comes down to dead trees for the most, to be honest with you. Most of it's dead. Like, I would love to get back to be able to just go trimming trees for the most part, but there's so many big maple trees that are dying around town, and then all the ash trees are going, like, and it's a handful, like,
Okay.
to keep up with the trees around town.
I'm not disagreeing.
No,
I
I'm
mean,
just,
you already burned through 24,000 this
Yeah.
year, and if you've only got another 5,500 to go,
that's
you're
2 days, yeah.
that's gonna be nothing.
Because it's 24.40 a day for me to
Right.
have the tree company
We
down.
got a big old maple taken out for $2,000,
Mm.
so that's,
Yeah.
I'm sure you got more than one of those to take out.
Yeah, right now I'm caught up at the moment from
Well,
calls.
she has one over near her house, so.
All right.
Could do it.
Maybe I'm not.
My big one fell, but,
Oh, did it finally fall?
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
that's cool.
but we've got ash, it's a couple.
Yeah, they're just.
Yeah,
3,000
our ash tree,
every
the
few
branches are,
years.
I think now, looking under our tree, I'm
Every
starting to
month.
think there's more branches on the ground than there are on the tree.
Why is that an ash tree?
Yeah,
That's the one I saved.
yeah, she saved
All right.
that from she laid down in front of a bulldozer. for
Any
it.
others?
I did,
there
I
any
didn't
other-
want them to take.
Are there any
And
other
I told them they
questions?
couldn't put so many
Nope.
trees across the street because I
I'm good.
couldn't see them.
All in favor?
Okay.
I,
I had to
Okay,
fight
all-
with my dad on that one.
Seeing and hearing no further discussion, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed. That is unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank
Is
you.
there another
I think
one?
that is
Is it?
Cemetery.
Yeah, it's just Parks and Cemetery, which you don't have the
491.
salaries.
Oh, yeah.
Parks and what?
Do we want to dive into
Cemetery.
things on the salary?
Well, if we don't,
Go
Can I
with
s-
it?
Do you have 491 there that I can steal?
Parks is the same thing,
just
probably, right?
parks?
Sorry.
Thank you.
Yes, it would be. Yeah.
Did you change the numbers in the 22 section?
I don't know if I have it. I don't have it now.
Parks and
I
cemetery.
think
both
they
have-
did.
There's Parks
I
and
think they
Rec.
did. I don't know if you have it.
got
I
Parks
don't
and
have
Rec.
it, I
one
had
do
to
you
do
have?
all
Oh,
of this
did I-
stuff by hand.
I think,
I thought we
I,
decided not to do
I'm
cemetery.
doing it too.
should we be,
So this changed.
none of us have like the actual budget though.
Well, that's, we get, there doesn't seem to be, short of salaries, there doesn't
There-
seem to
I-
be a lot
Parks-
of
Parks
issues
would be
with
the
these.
same.
So I would say, why don't we
Parks is
kind of,
zero.
right, so I would say at this
Right.
point, the Parks is zero, but isn't there gonna be some salary
The
stuff
sal-
going
it's
on?
this. It'll be the salary.
Yeah, so why don't we, it's getting late, I think it's time for us to kind of wrap it up here tonight. We will probably be able to answer our own questions for the cemetery and for Parks and Recreation.
Parks and
I don't think
Recreation
we
or
need
Even
parks?
without having to invite Bud back.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the only other thing.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get it
That's
so
fine.
that we don't have to have Bud come
Right,
back. That's
right.
why
I think it's pretty
Sure.
straightforward. I don't think there's anything
Right.
cemetery. I think cemetery. The only thing I did cemeteries that went up is 2 days for trimming trees because for tree work. Same thing.
Yeah.
Because there's a line of hemlocks in the back. We just took 7 out like 2 weeks ago, and he said it's just a matter of next 3 to 5 years you're gonna take them all out because they all got the same disease and they're just gonna.
Yeah, they're just gonna keep on.
Did I just give you back everything? Nope, they should have given you this one.
Okay. So why don't we, I
This
would
is
say
the
at this
cemetery.
point, we're all set.
Okay.
I think we'll be able to get through those last couple of budgets
Yeah. And if there's
without
questions,
too
just-
much trouble. I'd like to kind of, it's run half an hour longer than I anticipated the meeting. We actually got started on time for that. So it was only 5 after 6 when we started, which is good news. It's really great news. Yes, Tom?
Just one note, Bud's budget is, parks maintenance. Parks and Recreation is actually the CRA.
Oh, that's
budget.
right.
CRA
Parks
one,
maintenance,
yes.
yeah.
Parks
And
maintenance.
that's level funded, so I don't imagine there'll be too much discussion on that.
Right. Right, so we'll be able to tackle those
Changed in
next.
here.
in our-
And
in our
that's the total, so I just
again,
copied the
next
total.
Wednesday, so.
Yeah, and if there's
They
anything,
just, they changed
Is
this
there-
too.
Well, yeah, I had to
Okay.
change
Yeah,
that
we
because they
give-
put them all in one. Is-
Thanks,
is-
Terry.
Is there anything,
thank you.
That's
is
what
there
I-
anything further to come before the committee?
But those are the numbers they had, is that?
I mean, a lot of-
Yeah, I
no.
gotta find out in here what they changed.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Motion has been made by Jeff Noble, seconded by Susan Carol Lombardi to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's enough.